One day, one of us is going to say something truly embarrassing on a hot mic. But no matter what that is, it's not going to be as embarrassing as the things we said last night at the end of Greyhawk. That night will live on in infamy. But here we are tonight, doing Shadesong. We are picking up the game that we dropped last week because the elements were against us. The ice had fallen and encased us here, which is very thematic, actually, when you think about it, that we were sort of iced out last week. And this game is all about the fact that the planet is getting... Never mind. Very, very thematic. I like it. It's almost like I ordered it from Central Casting. But we are here tonight to try and thaw out this chill that has seeped deep into our bones. And when you're trying to thaw out the chill that has seeped into your bones, it's nice to have some truly handsome people to help you do it. I have named my 3 players here tonight. Hello, people. How are you doing?
Hello, people.
Hi. Not sure who he was talking to. Must be Owlo.
I know.
I was talking to Tim.
Mm.
Tim, my one-man audience. Hey, Tim. What's up?
What's up, Tim?
Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Absolutely. Through thick and thin.
It turns this into a performance and not mental illness.
Absolutely.
It's still mental
Tim's
illness for
It's
me.
still, yeah, it's still mental illness.
Tim's
You
played
can't
before
get
he
away
takes
from it.
He knows. He knows what all it's all about. Yes, so this is the finale tonight. This 5-part story arc, and we will immediately jump into this and say hello to our wonderful players tonight. Welcome. Hello.
Hi, Chris. How's it going? Hi,
Hey.
Tim. Hi, everyone watching. Thank you for joining us for the last episode. My name is Olo Clark. I am an actor, writer, and creative director over at Escape Plan Games. You can find our first 5e book. Just drop a pencil. You can find our first 5e book, Tavern Tales Volume 1, at www.eplangames.com. You can find the company at eplan games on all the social medias, and you can find me at jackbnimble42. Bring it on, Chris. What have you got?
Who are you playing?
I am playing Amloth, the Wildren Bard, who came along for the ride in the story, and then, much to his discomfort, became more and more the story.
That's right.
He's looking forward to singing his dead friend home at the end of all of this. So I have to get out of here in one piece.
Is there going to be a volume 2 of...
There is definitely going to be a volume 2. If we can get past the... Yeah, that was our arrogant offering. We're going to put that right in the name, right up top. There's absolutely going to be a volume 2. Probably after the project that Escape Plan is currently working on, soon to be announced, hopefully in the not too distant future. So stay tuned.
Yep, and good luck with all that.
Thank you.
Next up, a man who needs no introduction. He's been here, he's been there, he's been everywhere, hanging out, making me look bad in comparison. I have named Miko.
Oh, me? I assumed you were talking about somebody else, because obviously I need lots of introduction. Nobody knows who I am. Hi, I'm Miko, otherwise known as the Okayest GM. You can find me on all the socials at _Okayest_GM. I run games, play games, create games, produce games, do all kinds of things. And yeah, you can find me here, there, and in a few other places. Check out my link tree or my socials if you're at all interested in seeing some of the awesome stuff that I get up to elsewhere outside of Christian's games, because it's hard to be awesome when you're surrounded by Kay and Olo in a game such as this.
And I saw you had a whole thing last night with Wanderer's Haven. You're going to be doing some stuff there?
Yeah, I am officially part of the production team over at Wanderers Haven, twitch.tv/Wanderers Haven for those interested. And we've got some cool things planned for the future. I'm also going to be producing games for La Nota Eterna, a Italian 5e setting that recently had a very, very successful Kickstarter. And Kevin, one of my buds at Wanderers Haven, is the official U.S. partner for Not Eterna, and I'm going to be producing a significant majority of the games that he runs over there on their Twitch stream. So it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, we're getting into that tomorrow night, or Friday night, rather.
Friday night. Yeah. Tomorrow night, you've got an entirely different game because you're a psychopath and booked yourself every day this week.
You know, psychopaths got to do what psychopaths got to do. See, that would have been a segue there saying, speaking of psychopaths, but I would never, ever do that to Kay. So.
Why not?
Because you're obviously a sociopath, not a psychopath.
Oh, I see. Okay.
How you doing, Kay? You are not. You are not at all. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I have a cat right now instead of a keyboard, so I'm limited in what I can and can't do. But my name is Kay. You can find me at Caden Cosmos most places. I do a lot of art stuff. I'll get into that later. I don't care about that right now. Tonight I'm playing Claudia Sumnus, a very excitable researcher, archaeologist type person.
Criminal?
Hey, no, really.
Double agent, spy, threat, traitor.
Some of those are some harsh words.
Claudia is
and
world.
How many of those are true?
And how many? Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
And
accurate. How many?
I plead the fifth.
Probably a smart move.
Probably a smart move.
I don't know if it applies. I'm from Canada. Sorry.
That's right. No, we don't. I always love it when we see cop shows here and they're reading Miranda rights, and I'm like, "The hell are you doing?" Never mind. Thank you so much for joining me here all throughout this game, of course, this story arc and in tonight's finale. So let us get into that. A couple little shout outs before we move on. I'm the Bleakseason. You can find me at the Bleakseason on Twitter. You can check out my website, bleakseason.com, for all the info on all the games that I run, including Shadesong. I haven't updated in the last couple of weeks because things have been going crazy. But I will get back to that very shortly. My producer is Andy. Andy, how do you say it? Andy G3D? Andy G3D, that's right. You can't see him, but his fingerprints are all over this thing. He's in the back, pushing buttons, pulling levers, pinching himself to make sure that, you know, this is not a dream. He is really here, living the high life of the small-time streamer, along with the rest of us here. Our music is from, as always, Tabletop Audio. Absolutely banger stuff that Tabletop Audio puts out. You can check out their website and their Patreon. Their Patreon's just a couple bucks to get access to a ton of great stuff. But if you just want free stuff, head on to their website. They got a player there. You can put up your playlists. All your musical needs will be satisfied for your games. The game of Shadesong is played with the Dragonbane system by Free League Publishing. The actual game comes out, I think, in July. We are using the PDF from the early backers on Kickstarter because I'm a Free League sucker. And we've been having a pretty good time with it. I absolutely love the system. I think it's great, and I will talk more about it around time when it comes out, but give it a check if you like sort of old schoolish fantasy type system. I'd like to also thank all the good people over at Guild Superior, all the people in our chats, in our Discord, everyone hanging out here with us tonight, everyone playing games with us. If you are interested in maybe coming out and playing with us, check it out. We have our links up in the chat right now. You can pop into our Discord and check out casting news. Tons of stuff going on. And with that, I'd like to remind you that if you feel so inclined, you can help out our characters, our players tonight, and play a little bit of a role in a game by spending some hard-earned bits to buy our heroes advantages. And you know, they might need them. You never know what's going to happen. Shadesong, after all. Weird things happen in Shadesong. It's just the way it is. I don't make the rules. In fact, I do, because I created the world. But, you know, I don't make all the...
Hence them being weird.
That's right. Everyone ready?
Sure.
When last we met our intrepid heroes, you had left the monolith behind, having found a map that indicated that you should probably want to head up to a place in the mountains called the Deep Forge, so that you could see about restarting it, since the monoliths, which basically control the weather and just about everything in the world, have been without power for a long time. Hey, Insomnia. You just got Miko an advantage. Oh, and Flying gave me an advantage. You had decided to go up into the mountains to try and find his Deep Forge, to restart it, to repower the monolith so that things could go back to normal and the planet could stop freezing. On the way there, you came across a little village where you were hoping to resupply. However, when you arrived there, you realized that everyone in the little village had been killed in the most heinous fashion, and you discovered that it was the Red Priests that were responsible for this. You went over the mountain through the Goat Pass in order to arrive behind him, which is what you did. Now, your goal currently is the Traine Drakkar and the Three Dragons, the fumaroles where you believe the Deep Forge is hidden. However, to get there, you have to cross this bridge here that we see, and unfortunately, the place is packed to the gills with Red Priests. There's an encampment just below where you are, and other Red Priest guards near the bridge. You are standing on a little rocky outcropping, having just come, as I was saying, over the mountain through the Goat Pass. The wind and the snow is whipping at your face. It's quite cold up here. It's very difficult to see down into the valley. You can barely just make out the camp with the tents, the fires that are burning. You add a rough count from where you are. Does anyone have a magnifying glass or something like that among their gear? Oh, well, ain't that grand. You pop that sucker out. You pop it out. And looking down its barrel, you can make out that they are indeed Red Priests. A rough count gives you anywhere between 30 to 50, depending on how many of them are currently in the tents below you. They stand between you and your goal. What would you like to do?
Well, I can surely take 10 or 15 of these fuckers myself, but I don't know if that's good enough in this circumstance.
I believe that you can, Dara. It's the other 35 that come after them that I'm a little worried about.
Aye.
We're not carrying any light sources right now, are we?
No, it's still like mid-afternoon. Oh, okay. So there's still enough light kicking around, especially this high, to see without it. They've got fires going, but it's more for warmth than anything else. You're fairly well hidden. You don't fear really being scoped out.
That's my question.
Unless those 3 hawks that are circling currently above you are servants of the Red Priests, but, you know.
Cool. Thanks for that.
Anything is possible.
They are red. I'm kidding.
We need a way to clear out both camps at once. Claudia, this is a bit of a long shot, but what can that arm of yours do?
It can interact with old technology. There are some other things I can, use it to shield myself. I can help with healing, but if you're looking for a giant beam of energy, I'm not your gal.
Dara's gonna look up and down the mountainside. How thick is the snowfall here?
Well, you can't really see on the map, unfortunately, because I never thought you'd come from that that side of it when I made the map, because, you know, players do that. But it would rise up pretty sharply behind you, and you're in the, really, you're like into the mountain. So this is kind of like a rocky plateau that would be kind of sort of halfway up the mountain. So behind you, there's still a number of peaks, and given that it is a very late winter, that seems to be persisting, there would be a fair amount of ice and snow, I would say, up on the side of the mountain.
Well, I've got a plan, but it's frankly, it's a mite dangerous, and I don't know if I don't know. It might be too dangerous to try.
Amloth gestures down the hill. More dangerous than 50 to 60 red priests, 7 of whom just killed a town that we walked past. Come on, Dara, cough it up.
I've learned that dumb plan is still a plan, so let's go.
Right. So my rune locks that I've got, they can do interesting things. They contain the power of a Shatterstorm, small amount of power of a Shatterstorm. They're fucking crazy, but I could release this one that I have that's in air and attempt to bring a mountain of snow down on top of these fucks. But it's probably going to... I'm going to have to destroy the rune lock to do it, and that is probably going to unleash a small Shatterstorm, and I don't know what it's going to do in the proximity to the forge. So that's why I say it's a mite dangerous, and I don't know if I can contain it.
Who says you gotta contain it, boyo? This is a deep forge from way back in the early days of civilization, friend. I think it can take a good whack. I'm all for it.
That's not what I'm worried about.
As you say that, you see coming from, as you're debating that, you see coming from the direction of the gorge, you see a number of what look like mini little fireballs, perhaps, that are arcing up in the air, maybe 5 or 6 of them, and they come down, and they hit the ground just a little bit short of the camp, like sort of around here. Then there's a bit of a pause, then there's another batch of them that come up. And this time, they're arcing a little bit higher. And then you realize as they start coming down that they're arrows, the tips of which are in flames. And a few of them still miss, but a couple of them hit some of the tents in the middle camp. And suddenly, some of the tents start burning up. And as you watch this happening and you hear the sound of alarms coming, and the red priests sort of trying to sort out what's going on as their camp starts to burn, you detect movement coming up over the edge of the ridge up there and moving quickly through the banks of snow and sort of moving in a bit of a formation. Appears to be a group of about 12 or 15 warriors that are moving in quick and are coming in here along the ridge as the red priests start to trying to put the tents out and the fire's kind of spreading, and these warriors are sort of lining up here, and there's me, like I said, about 15 of them. Very difficult to tell from there sort of what's going on. But a moment later, and this is not the thing that gets your attention the most, but a moment later you can see these soldiers hop over or climb over this ridge, and in a moment they're in the camp and they're starting to just slaughter these guys. But it's pretty clear there's way too many priests for them, but they're in there and they're just sort of slaughtering. But the thing that kind of catches your attention the most is that as this is kind of going on over here, and there's kind of this, here, I'll do this. There's kind of this group of warriors that has kind of arrived there and is starting to fight. You see a number of red priests that come out behind the big tent here and very quickly start drawing arcane symbols on the ground in what looks like red paint or blood, perhaps. And if any of you that have magical skill would like to roll a magical skill for me.
I mean, I don't have to roll to know that that's bad, right?
You don't have to roll to know that that's bad.
Okay. Well, I did get 6 under 15.
They're definitely summoning circles, and they're very busy popping 3 of them on the ground right now.
Okay, then.
Are these warriors blue, by any chance?
No. I mean...
They're not Sklar, visibly?
No, they're not. They're armored. They got chainmail. They got halberds and big swords. They got helmets. They look like big-time warriors.
Seeing all of that, I want to just grab Dara by the shoulders and go, listen, they're trying to get real salty with us. So let's give them some sugar, boy. Let's wrap our hands in the mane of today and ride it into legend. Give us an avalanche, boyo. Come on.
All right. I'll fucking do it. And I pull out the air rune lock, and I'll give both of my 2 companions here a very sidelong glance and feel myself and start running towards the closest what I can see to be batch of snow, and that seems loose enough given my mountaineering skill. I'm sure that I have seen avalanche, mountains ready to fall before, and I'm just going to take off running and prepare to shatter my rune lock and chuck it into the mountain.
Well, you'll be happy to know that DM Dave has just given each of you an advantage.
Hey,
thanks so much, DM Dave. They're gonna need it. So Dara, as you prepare to do this, you realize that you have an opportunity, if you can control the shatter storm, at least to a certain degree, you have an opportunity to kind of send it down one face of the mountain, like that kind of curves away, so that you might be able to take out sort of the outer edge of the camp and sort of not spill it throughout the entire thing, which would take out these warriors also. But in order to do that, once you shatter the rune lock, so you can either just shatter the rune lock and sort of let it go, or you can, once you do it, give me an elementalism roll and see if you can control it so that you minimize damage to the other guys, because the summoning circle happened to be over on this side.
Right.
Now the fight's more over here, so there's a way you could send your
yeah. I mean, I'm going to do my best to control it, but I'm literally unleashing a shatter storm, which is fairly anathema to my job as a stormcaller. So
you could have someone or you throw it further out, like you could set it off the blow and have someone throw it so that it would arc in a better direction if you want.
I mean, Dara is fairly confident in his strength to be able to chuck such a thing anyway, and he wouldn't want to put either of his other allies in more danger than they need to be.
So while Dara's doing that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Certainly calling up a shatter storm is dangerous enough for them as far as he is concerned.
Pretty much. What are the other 2 doing then while Dara's prepping his
Oh, he's hustling. He's moving his fat little ass across the snow already.
What are Amloth and Claudia going?
Getting ready to absolutely book it towards the bridge, first of all, I think.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have to get down first. So, like, Claudia, while you were talking about what you're going to do, or while you were giving Dara this pep talk, I think she already is like like, let's go. This is the best time. So
The goat just sort of gives you the side eye and then follows Claudia. The ram.
Following. Yep.
The pack ram.
sick.
All right. So then let's do it, Dara. You will try to find the best possible spot. You'll, using your mountaineering skill, kind of look at the angle and kind of try to figure out how it's gonna come down. And I will let you tell me exactly what it looks like when you throw this thing off into the distance.
What rolls do I need to make?
I'm gonna sort of assume that you can throw it. It's gonna be more in the how you control the storm afterwards. So we'll say that you can sort of put it where you want, but once it explodes, I will ask for an elementalism roll to guide the storm to where you want it, so that the monster comes down the way.
Okay, cool. So as he is prepping the rune lock, this is one that he's had for quite a few seasons at this point. The one that currently is possessing of an air element from a Shatterstorm, and he doesn't really look on it with any kind of like, sympathetic nature of that he's about to lose a prized possession or anything, but more in the vein of the amount of work that went into crafting it and the pain of having to destroy such an exquisite piece of artifice. And he goes through the normal ritual of releasing the rune lock first, holding it out in his hand, bringing up his hammer, Skyforger, and like uttering a few sort of prayer-like words, and then cracking Skyforger deftly into the top of it, before very, very quickly chucking it up into the air and like a baseball bat swinging Skyforger against it to send it hurtling into the side of the mountain,
where it explodes in a thunderous roar of booming thunder and wind, and it is primarily a wind-powered rune lock, but it does come from a Shatterstorm. So immediately, as soon as this explodes, the vast majority is going to be wind, but there's still going to be a little spot of fire tongues sort of dropping to the ground and little motes of earth flying into the sky and so on and so forth. But what you're really after is that boom, that sonic boom of this thing kind of exploding. And as soon as you do, there's like that moment where it's just reverberating and echoing throughout the mountain, and you can't really see, but you kind of assume that people down there are like, what the... And then there's just this deep, deep rumble, and it seems to be coming from super deep in the earth, and then it gets louder and louder, and then you can see the top snow start to sort of roll down, and then eventually you hear this loud, deafening crack as the ice that's under all this snow that's been attached to this rock for God knows how many years just shatters, and suddenly there's just this giant wave of rock and ice and snow that starts coming down. Give me your elementalism roll.
So I am going to use the advantage that was granted to me by Insomnia. Thank you, kind sir. And that is going to be 2d20 rolling. That's a well, I got a 9, which is under my 15. I accidentally rolled a d20 and a d12.
Okay.
But I got a 9 on the d20, which is under my 15.
Perfect. So as you sense the power of the Shatterstorm that's brewing behind this, you know that basically what you need to do is to harness that power and then use it to kind of guide the storm so that it moves a certain direction. And with the energy of the storm moving a certain direction, it's going to move the avalanche sort of along with it. So it's kind of like your long distance kind of trying to move this ball of energy that is this Shatterstorm that's happening and moving it in the direction you want it to go. And with your roll, you manage
a mini localized snownado.
Yes, exactly. A shark near sharks, and there are all sorts of things. A couple of Yetis flying around. and you managed to do it. Your roll, which is excellent, you managed to get it, and as it sort of shifts away into an unnatural path for it, the avalanche starts picking up speed as it's grabbing trees and loose boulders and more ice and snow. And by the time it hits that last sort of little rocky outcropping below before it goes down into that valley, it's got momentous, just this huge mass. And when it hits it, it doesn't so much roll over it as it just cracks right through it. And there's even more rock and stone that's just now rolling through it. And with your roll, you've managed to do it quite well enough so that it comes down exactly sort of how you wanted it. And it rolls down this way and sort of takes out this. And as you watch the trees, and it's always strange in avalanche, the trees at the bottom, they sort of just disappear one after the other, kind of like they're being eaten, you know, as this avalanche is kind of rolling. And the cracking of these trees and of the rock is just reverberating. It's super loud. It's totally hurting your ears from where you are. And just as it comes through that tree line, you can see that where the summoning circles were, you can see, and I will put it here, a number of 3 of these sort of weird blood kind of beasts, apparently made of like veins and sinew and congealed blood, start to appear just in time to get the avalanche right in the teeth. As it just powers through and takes out a good half, 2/3 of that encampment. And you just see here and there bits of red as one of these beasts sort of comes out for a little bit and then goes back under, or you'll see the robe of one of the red priests sort of fly over. And the avalanche just keeps going. It rolls down. And Amico, give me a mountaineering roll.
Sure. That's a 20.
That's a 20. Well, as the avalanche goes down, you watch it roll down, and at the last moment, you just know it's going to take out that village that you left behind. It's just going to roll right over it, and part of you thinks that it's probably fitting almost that that place was, you know.
I mean, they were all dead anyway, and we buried the people. Yeah. Might as well bury the village to make sure no one ever comes to it.
And if there's anything there untowards because of how they were killed, then now they'll be under quite a hefty amount of snow and rock. You come down.
Is that the only bad stuff that happens from rolling a 20 is bad in Dragonbane, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't like it is very bad, but I was just to see if, you know, you had thought out of like the layout of it and where this snow would end up going, but I felt that
there was no thought in this. This was
no, I know,
was
but
me like
it's not going to be too bad. I didn't make it too bad because I didn't give you proper warning ahead of time that, you know, of what might happen.
Let's not bite the hand that feeds. Let's just.
I mean, if you want, I can have it all the way down.
No. You just gave us an absolute drubbing, Chris. We're humble and small because of it. Let's move on.
He's not humble. He's not humble.
I'm the most humble person I know, okay?
They named Humble Pie after Kay. You come down now, having waited for most of this mess to kind of roll out. You come down, sort of down through the side, and as you arrive down here at the area where the trees are, you can see that the soldiers that are there are kind of mopping up and finishing off the rest of the red priests that are there. And as you approach, you can see a little bit more clearly, and they appear to be Ashkari. They all wear similar armor with an emblem on it, like they're part of the same unit or something like that.
I imagine that Amloth and Claudia are getting there first, so I give them the greet.
So the two of you come down the side, and as you come down, a couple of the Ashkari will sort of notice you, and they will, tap someone and sort of make sure that they see you. And as you come down over the side, this one woman will detach herself from the rest of the crew and approach you. And as she's approaching you, she'll say, "Let me guess, someone sneezed?"
He might be small in stature, but he's a giant when it comes to lungs. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the enemy of your enemy. Very nice to meet you.
She extends a hand that's about twice the size of yours, grabs it. We'll sort out exactly who's enemy and who's friend in a minute here, but for now I'll say that this little avalanche of yours, if it was indeed from you, was quite fortuitous, as it seems that we had bitten off a little bit more than we could chew.
Well, sometimes that's when it's juiciest,
My name is Gethra Bloodclaw.
Amloth of the Wildren. Diolch. Much obliged for the help.
Pleasure.
I'm Claudia. Oh, I can introduce myself. I'm Claudia Subnus. You remind me of another large woman I once knew. I hope I'm honored to make your acquaintance, and I'll go to shake her hand as well.
So shake your head. Yeah, you're talking about Gerhild Bear Sister.
Yes.
They do have some similarities. This Ashkari woman has very peculiar hair. Her hair seems to have been kept quite shorn, but there are two very small braids that have started to sort of grow out that she's kind of twisted around her head. And she's got this huge broad-bladed axe that just sort of plants in the snow. It's covered in blood. She's like, "These are my men." Exactly, is he with you? As she sees Dara.
He's the one who started the snow.
On purpose, or?
Yes, we tried to keep it away from you as much as we could, and I think you did a pretty good job. Don't let him hear me say that, though.
I think so. I don't think any of my men were taken out by the snow. It was a bit of a dangerous gamble, but considering what we realized was actually waiting for us when we got here, I have to say that I owe you one.
Well, I guess the Red Priests were in our way too, so thanks.
You know of them, then?
I know of them. I've ran into them a couple times down by Blight Rock.
Tell me, have you heard of one called Ambiance?
Yes.
That's the one I'm looking for.
Our stars continue to align.
Any idea where I might find him? That I might kill him?
Are we talking about killing now?
Ermanaz, you remember from my lecture? Were you listening?
Right. Yes. We're going after that one and whatnot. Are you all right, madam? You and your folk.
My folk, all right. I'm not sure I've ever been called madam in my entire life. But yes, I take it we have you to thank for this very nasty turn of weather. And, well, thank you very much. I was just telling your friends here that I'm pretty sure none of my men were taken by the snow. So in any case, we, as I was saying, had bitten off a bit more than we could chew. So my name's Gethra Bloodclaw, and I owe you one.
Pleasure to meet you, Gethra. My name's Dara.
Is there second camp of them still present at the bridge?
No, they've there's, when you look up, there's a couple of Gethra's men who just finished.
Been dealing with that?
Taking care of those.
Okay.
I was hoping to find Erminaz in this camp. She looks up at the mountain, but we not stay here in case there's more where that came from. She'll start heading down towards the bridge. I was hoping to find Erminaz here, but unless he's buried under that don't
He
think.
might be in one of those, in one of the three dragons.
She looks up. Is that where you're going then?
Yep.
What's your beef with him?
Oh, he's trying to destroy the world.
That sounds on brand. How's he trying to do it this time?
Well, turning the core back from being something that heats the world back to cold rock, partially corrupting elementals who have existed for since they arrived here. So
I really have no clue what you're telling me.
someone?
Listen, we can explain later as long as you can bring that axe and put it in his head. We can do the rest of the explaining. How does that sound?
Well, I could certainly do that. I was hoping to find him here. I hear there are more red priests on the south slope and on the other side to the east also. But the way to the three dragons there should be fairly clear.
They killed Cobb's Corner.
What's Cobb's Corner?
There's a town not far from here. 7 of them passed through, perhaps on the way here. It breathes no longer.
Well, that's what the red priests do. That's all they do. Just sow death, corruption wherever they go.
What
Listen,
is it
I
that
don't
puts
know
you on their heels?
Let's just say that it's a little bit my fault if Herminaz is out and about causing trouble.
You released him then?
Me and a group of allies were, I don't want to say the word trick because it makes it sound like we didn't voluntarily do what we were asked to do, but we certainly didn't know the extent of the threat we were allowing to leave from Dawnfall when we did our part of the business and allowed him to leave. It was about 10 years ago, and well, I haven't really slept well since.
Well, we'll be happy to give you a good night. Just point us towards where you think he is.
Figure the only thing that'll do that is me putting him right back where I found him. Deep in the ground.
Sounds good to me.
She turns around, yells out a couple of orders in Ashkari, and her men start assembling around. She's got like 12 men with her. Well, I don't know if we're going to find him there, but it's as good a lead as any as I have, so we'll have to go along with and see what we find. If you think that 12 really pissed off Ashkari warriors is something that you can work with.
Considering the family reunions that I've been dealing with over the years, I'm quite contained. I'm not too worried. As long as it's channeled in the right direction, that's all that we need.
You lead the way, we'll follow.
Well,
Hey, now.
Pointy bits forward.
I'll tell you what, we came up through that chasm there, and we got a good look at that bridge from underneath, and I'm not sure that I trust it to carry even the smallest one of you. I hope one of you's good with a hammer. As you approach the rather ramshackle, rickety, cobbled together bridge that spans the chasm, you realize that what you had taken for the cracking and groaning and creaking of the mountain around you because of the avalanche is in fact the bridge, which is swaying very precariously over this steep gorge beneath it. It looks like it's been built and rebuilt and added on and fixed again and added on and rebuilt several times over quite possibly 100 or more years. It doesn't look good.
If only we had somebody to levitate us across.
If only you had someone to levitate you across. But as you approach it, you can give it the side eye, Dara, if you wish, and
Sure.
see if you think that, it's instant death or... Thank you very much, Pixie Lady, for the advantages to my friends here. As the bridge gives way beneath them and they fall into the hole, I'm sure they'll be happy to have advantages.
Thank you.
Crafting check?
Yep, if you would.
Let's do it. I'm actually going to use an advantage too, just FYI. Oh, good thing. Because one of those was a 19, but the other one is a 3. So thank you, Dave, for the advantage.
Dave coming in clutch. So you take a look at it and, overall, you think it's probably more sound than it looks. You think that there's a reasonable chance it's going to get the lot of you across. You think it's probably best if you spread out a little bit. You're worried about certain sections, but you think that if you go ahead and kind of go first and are careful and check out the various sections beforehand, you can either spot any trouble or perhaps even attempt to fix some of it sort of along the way. Gethra will say, will ask you if you want her to get some of her men to break down some of those trees that are stuck in the avalanche for a little bit of wood, and she'll say that among them they have several hundred feet of rope, if any of that can be of use.
The rope's probably going to be more useful than any trees, and unfortunately without enough leverage or time and tools, the trees aren't going to provide much benefit, but the rope will at least make it substantially better for a temporary crossing, to say the least. I'll go first and clear the way. Nobody else steps foot on it till I give the say-so, right?
Fine by me.
Yeah.
All yours, Master Verg.
Are you
Dara
tied onto it? Are you tied onto anything, Dara?
No. Who needs that?
Tied to his hopes and dreams, fleeting as they may be. All right.
As he crosses, he starts making comments. Fuck's sake, this looks like my brother built it.
He's not here to defend himself.
Exactly.
Just giving it the contractor once over. Wouldn't have done it like that. Oh, what clowns did this?
This must have been built by elves.
Yep.
So as you start going on there, go ahead and I'm not going to make you do a crafting roll every 5 feet or anything like that, but go ahead and give me a crafting roll down here. Just give me a crafting, give me a spot hidden. Give me those two. And meanwhile, if any of the other people want to go ahead and give me awareness, or if you have beast lore would work also. I'm sure you're very encouraged by what I just said.
Yeah.
I got 13 under 14 for the spot hidden, and I got 15 meets 15 for my crafting.
Okay, perfect.
Nice.
All good things.
I'm 100% using one of my advantages.
Yeah.
You should. We have several.
Yeah.
I got double 3 under 14.
Nice.
So.
And I'm off.
I got 11 under 12 for Beast Law.
All right, for beast lore. Nice. So, Dara, you will basically, going up along the way here, you will find little trouble spots. get some extra rope, put it in, or maybe get like, a log and sort of jam it in between a couple things so that, and it's fear inducing. I'm not going to lie to you. As the rest of you start coming up behind him, I will ask everyone to actually go ahead and give me a fear roll. Now, you have Dara with you. He looks like he knows what he's doing. You are hardened adventurer, so I will allow you to make the fear roll with an advantage.
I have fearless, so it says automatically resist fear without a will roll. And I have to use will.
Perfectly fine. No, you're actually perfectly fine. You're like, hey, this reminds me of that time I did this willingly back in.
So how do I do a fear?
So you roll on your willpower.
Got it. Okay.
And you can do it with a boon since you're well surrounded.
Okay.
And does spent willpower count against us for this?
So you roll against your stat.
Oh, against the stat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need to roll it again. I got a 512.
All right, awesome. So you managed to keep it under control. It is quite scary as the wind, once you get out into this gorge, the wind that is coming down from the mountain just buffets you. And you can see it's not so much that the bridge is going like this. It's that it's going like this as that wind is kind of buffeting it. And there's a lot of pressure that's being put on one side of it. And you can see, like in places, you can see that the bridge has been built so that there's movement to allow for this. Like the knots are loose. And as the bridge kind of moves, it tightens against them. But it's pretty much like edge of your seat here as you're sort of going along. But you'll clear the first section, Miko, fixing some stuff sort of along the way. And then you're here working on this main area. And your spot roll, Miko, was to detect that there's a major issue here. So you start fixing it. Your crafting roll from earlier is good enough. You just need a little bit of time to fix it. And
I am also a master carpenter, if that helps. So it's easy for me to spot weaknesses and stuff like this.
So you're whistling as you're doing all of this.
He's whistling. I'm singing nervously, mostly to myself.
We'll as people are like walking across, I will make sure to point out to them not to walk in unison and to walk like asynchronously, and like one person takes moves forward before another person starts moving with, and that sort of thing, so as to prevent any type of syncopatic response in the swaying of the bridge.
No problem. As you're getting towards near the middle part, and Dara raises his hand to say stop while he fixes this, your awareness check comes into play, Claudia, as you look back and you notice that over here, underneath the edge of the rock, are several what look like nests. Now, we're not talking like little bits of straw. We're talking like nests built with pieces of wood like this. And there are several of them, and they're very intricate in that they're all kind of interlocked, and some of them hang below the other ones. And as you're stopping there, you notice movement amongst the shadows and amongst the nests. You have no clue what the things are. You can't really see them too clearly, but there's several, and there's just almost like maybe they're sleeping and they're sort of stirring a little bit.
I'm going to try to motion for Gaithra to stop behind me, and I'm off, because Dara's way ahead. I'm like,
it'll be all right if we all can make it home. It'll be all right if we all can make it home. We can all...
Emma!
What?
Look down, and I'll try to... Do you see that? It's moving.
All right.
What's that?
Did that be slow roll Does that?
It was, and the thing is, you've never seen these specifically because you've never been up here, but you've seen this type of animal before in other places. They're called Arvek, and they are about 3 feet long, 3 feet tall, reptilian in nature, but winged. You've seen them in other places. Their coloring, some of the details on them changes depending on sort of the habitat that you found them here. They look very rocky with like little knobs and things like that on their flesh. The ones that you know of that you've encountered before, thanks to your beast lore, you know that they're very slothful. And you know that they don't really rouse themselves very easily. And as you think that, you sort of turn over, and out of the corner of your eye, you see Dara with his hammer up, just about to start hammering.
Dara! Oh, no. Amloth, I want to do that. I want to do the walk when you're trying not to wake someone up, but as fast as you can, like putting every foot firmly down, but at speed. So it's a real kind of, okay, trying to get all the way over to him. And if I can do that without having to make any kind of rolls, I'll just get to Dara and turn him and point him towards the nests. I wouldn't be making any great noises if I were you, if it can be helped. How good are you at hammering quietly? You describe yourself as a master craftsman. Take a challenge. Come on. Can it be more like pushing than hitting?
Think you're on mute.
Yeah, he's being stealthy.
No, that's not how this fucking works. There's no such thing as hammering without sound. The fuck you going on about?
Come on, change the game. Be a trendsetter. If we wake those things up, we're going to be having a pitched battle of ours on this rickety toothpick. And I'm not really in the mood.
Go and fucking warn the others. I'll figure something out.
Same walk all the way back from Ashkari to Ashkari, kind of laying it out for...
I will, at this point, ask you to give me a little roll since you're moving back and forth. And
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Moving past people. I will ask you to give me, I guess, sneaking?
Okay. Here comes an advantage. Thank you, DM Dave. That's good, because that's a 13 and... That's a 19 and a 13 over 10.
So as you walk, you're pushing past one of the art guards. You've told Gethra, you know what's going on, and you want to move to the next one and kind of just tell him to pass the information down. And sort of as you do, your foot just goes off a little bit and snaps one of the wooden supports, and you watch part of the wooden beam sort of just fall straight down, and there's this reverberating crack.
No.
You look up and you see like a movement, but they sort of settle down again.
I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. And keep spreading the word.
Meanwhile, back on the platform, Claudia and Dara. What?
As soon as Amloth moves away, Dara starts trying to think of any way that he can temporarily hold up the supports on this with rope without having to hammer in any type of emplacement.
So here's your dilemma. But before I give you your dilemma, what's Claudia attempting to do in this particular instance?
Well, so my sword has, because if Dara says out loud that is need to put the rope in. My sword has a snake charmer ability, so I can make the rope move from far away as if I was handling it with my own hands. But I don't know if that would be strong enough, you know?
Yeah, that would help actually. So look, this is what's going to happen. You basically have two choices. You can either try to just go through rolling some stealth and just power through and hope the bridge holds. You can try to fix it. So I was going to say that if you're trying to fix it without using all your tools and all the proper things, you'd have to give me a crafting roll at with a Bane. However, with Claudia's sword and that ability, that would give you extra reach and the ability to really kind of go far down and all that, I'll let you make a straight up crafting roll to see if you can fix this platform so that it's solid enough without sort of everything crashing down and allowing everyone to sort of go through. And then when they go through, they can just make a quick little stealth check and hopefully make it through without awakening these things.
Right. Let's give it a go. That is a 4 under 15.
Hey.
So tell me how the two of you work to get this fixed.
Yeah, so I think Dara, for the most part, is like holding the one end of the rope, like he binds it around his arm to do a good emplacement, and also give like a large amount of like several feet of slack for where he knows he's going to have to hook it and tie it off once it's at the other end, and then he kind of just directs Claudia, to point the rope down at the other end of the walkway where the supports are just a tiny bit stronger, and then slowly instructing her in a good quality knot for the rigging to hold up.
Awesome stuff. So, Kay, I will have you give me a sleight of hand. You're doing something dangerous. So if you want, you could use Fearless, spend your tool power, and get an advantage if you want, as you are doing something that is. Now remember also that you have, as a human being, you have the ability Adaptive, which allows you to use another skill than the one I called for, if you can convince me that
it could work.
Yeah. So you have a couple skills at 14 there, so that would help you too, but that's 3 willpower points.
Yeah. I think I'll just take it. I do have, I mean, if I can use another one of my many advantages, one from DM Dave, one from Pixel Lady, can I?
You can do that.
Yeah. But if it goes poorly, then it's on them. It's an 8 under 12, so
all
okay
right,
this time.
Awesome. So, quite interestingly, Dara, you watch as she weaves the sword around and the rope responds to it, and she's doing some very deft and very intricate sort of movements with it. It's quite a sight to behold. And you find that main sort of support beam in the middle is very solid, so you can use it as kind of a fulcrum to kind of tie the other things. And you do a pretty good job. Like, the bridge actually more solid after you're done with it than before. So you can sort of continue through. I'm going to say that a lot of you are far ahead enough now that you don't need to make a stealth check, but I'll make a stealth check for the bunch of Ashkari warriors in chainmail and halberds that are coming up behind you.
Sorry, I just want to check something.
Remember to knock off willpower, I guess, if you use the powers.
Are they all within 10 meters of me?
10 meters? A lot of them would be.
Then
you did say to spread them out, so
yeah.
I would
then
assume they're leaving probably about a couple of meters between each, so you get a couple.
as they start to come across, Amloth will just play a very gentle, like a lullaby kind of tune, like very, nothing peaky, nothing too epic, nothing that's going to waken Arvek, but just an inspiring, gentle little thing that just gets all of them breathing a bit calmer and putting a foot more carefully. Everyone within 10 meters has a boon to roll on this.
All right, awesome. So that's good because the first roll was 19. This one is a 3. So as you sing your little lullaby, they all sort of come by, and at some point you see one of them is crying, and he stops for a minute and goes, that's very beautiful. It reminds me of home, and a little tune that my grandmother used to play on the ukulele. Thank you. It's a warming memory in this cold day.
You're very welcome, friend.
And he looks around. Have you not a cup? And he's got like a gold coin in his hand.
I mean, I'll take it from you. I haven't got a hat or anything, but
you deserve it. And so, without further trouble from the Arvex or anything else, you manage to make it across this rickety-ass bridge, feeling quite sweaty by the time you arrive on the other side. And then after a short hike, you find yourselves arriving here at the base of these 3 giant rock outcroppings that sit one next to each other, fumaroles that are maybe like 70 feet tall, 70 to 80 feet tall. You can see the faintest wisp of black smoke emanating from the top of each of them. And you find yourselves arriving at the bottom here. Gaethra will come to you and say, well, there are your 3 dragons, but I got to tell you, we've been all over this place, and we didn't find a cave or any sort of entrance or anything like that anywhere around here.
Probably have to enter in from the top.
Beg your pardon. You want to go down the volcano?
I don't think they're volcanoes, actually.
So there's no evidence of, any sort of volcanic activity around these things.
It's a mountain, and there's smoke.
I know, but I mean, around them, there's no volcanic.
I'm not arguing with the DM. I'm arguing with Dara. Okay, that's plenty evidence of it being a volcano for me. Thank you very much.
Have you lived your entire life in the mountains?
I have lived my entire life in trees.
Right. And I've lived my entire life in the mountains. So which of us do you think has a better opinion of waging whether or not this is actually a volcano or not?
Listen, which of us has read more epic stories?
And isn't it going to be one of the most epic of stories if you can say that you climbed up to the top of a mountain and that you thought was a volcano?
And abseiled into a volcano. Yes, you're right. We'll keep this version. All right, carry on.
Storytellers. Dara just starts prepping himself for the long climb that's certainly ahead.
How are you going to manage the climb?
I don't know. Idolo, buddy.
Are you missing Idolo now? You got more than enough tools in your...
Yeah, I mean, we have a hook and rope and a little bit of climbing gear, pickaxe, and the like.
Sword.
Yeah, likely with the sword and with your mountaineering skill, you might be able to get yourself up there and then kind of secure.
Gaethra, do you and your lads have any climbing gear on you?
We have some of that rope left. My lads are plenty strong and use this sort of work as long as there's a way up. This should be fine.
Right.
I guess
lead
I'll
on,
have to find you a way then.
Yep, lead on, McDwarf. There's the school teacher.
All right, I'm going to have to give you an advantage for now. I take it.
So yeah, Dara will.
Not quite as good as Shelley's ellipsis joke from last night, but that was gold. But that was pretty good. So between her sword and your mountaineering skill, you should be able to do something. So go ahead and give me a mountaineering skill, and go ahead and give me a sleight of hand roll again, my friend Claudia.
That is a 12 under 14.
Okay, we good?
I'm gonna use an advantage.
I'm going to tell you not to bother because even if you fail, it's not going to have unless you roll a...
I didn't get a 20,
A 20.
thankfully. I got 18.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so all it's going to do is it's not going to help. I was kind of using it as kind of a help for Dara. Dara, you go up there, and what's happening is that you realize your sword just doesn't... It can't manipulate the rope that high, and once it's that high, you can't see what's going on anyway. So basically, the best that you can do is you can sort of allow Dara to go up for a while, and then you can kind of send the rope up to him so he doesn't have to kind of carry it all the way through. But Dara, with your mountaineering skill, you do manage to get to the top of one of the fumaroles, the one that's closer to you. Well done. As you get up there, you look down into it. You realize that most of it is sort of encrusted with ice, and there's not really a lot of heat that's coming. There's basically no real heat at all that's coming. The smoke is kind of acrid and black, but it really doesn't have any heat to it, and you can see that the insides of the fumarole, the walls on the inside, are frosted and covered over with ice also. You see about 20, 30 feet down, there's a grate of sorts that blocks the way. It's got little spikes coming up, and it seems to be like to prevent people not from coming down into it. But yeah, there's really no heat coming up. When you sort of look down at the bottom, you can see a little bit of red from perhaps some fire, some lava or something, but there's really not a lot, and there seems to be some contraptions of some sort, and you can see like large tubes and other things. But it's quite dark down there, and you don't hear any noise of machinery, and you don't see any movement. So you find yourself at the top of this thing right now.
Well, Claudia, what do you think about me tying a rope down across your waist and you making your way down and seeing if that fancy sword and fancy hand of yours can figure out any way to get past whatever's down there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Are we all at the top?
Well, so I mean, you're going to bring people up, or what?
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I had assumed that everybody was starting to crest up to the top with me.
Yeah. So I'm lost there. Gethra, a couple of the other guys, they're starting to come up. I'll do a generic roll for them. 7. All right. So most of them will make it up, but not most. All of them will make it up eventually. And it's just going to take a little bit of time for them to get all up. But the lot of you are right now up there. So
told you it wasn't a fucking volcano.
When you're up there, first of all, you're really, really far up. Not only is this fumarole, like I said, 70, 80 feet tall, but on the other side of it, it's just a sheer drop that goes almost all the way back down into the valley below. You're several hundred feet up in the air. The air is super thin up here. You have the crosswinds are coming pretty hard, and you're basically standing on ice. Like, it's just a bad situation altogether. You can kind of hunker down a little bit behind some of the little ice shelves that have formed to get a little bit of protection, but you manage for a moment to see over most of the land. You can see off to the left, you can see Trust, which is where the Ashkari come from, but you can also see the beginning of the desert where Idolo comes from. Over to the south of you, there's the chain of mountains called the Shield Mountains, and you can see very clearly the huge gap that was formed about 10 years ago when some mishap happened somewhere in the mountains. And there's this huge crevice that runs almost all the length of it, like a huge scar. And you can see that it comes and it rolls very near where you are, the scar, before disappearing up into the mountains. Behind you are the mountains that protect Kettleheim. And even from as high as you are, the mountains there are like 3-4 times as high still. There's no way to see there. They get lost into the clouds. But now when you look over to the west, you can clearly see below you the fields of the highlands and the swells of the hills there. And further, a little bit further south, you can see the beginning of the Whisperwood, the giant trees that stand majestic and proud, just beyond where the highlands sort of finish. I would like each of you to think on this for a moment. Tell me where you look. Give me a spot that you kind of focus on and describe it to me.
I think Claudia actually looks directly up and out into the sky, wondering about the Ved, how they got here, their wondrous technology that they've left, and the corrupted purpose that has brought her here from way out from Blight Rock, and had her travel all over Eld to try and figure out what happened here.
When you do that, you get that weird sky where it's clearly still daylight, but you can see the night sky beyond it. Like you're so high up above most of the clouds and whatnot. So you can see the stars and, the darker part of the sky that's, the night sky so far above, and still below, you can see the sun just about to set down in the west and a little bit of the blue sky left. So it's this very strange kind of mix of both at the same time.
I think, given the opportunity to be this high, Amloth is instinctively drawn to gaze in the direction of where the seventh sister, as it were, would be, that we discovered last time. We discovered there was a point essentially missing from the map, as marked by the stars above. So he sort of turns to face sort of slightly southeast, I would guess, and peer off into the distance to see if there's anything.
Give me an awareness roll as you do that.
And I'm going to use another advantage. So, thank you, / this is your fault, Pixel Lady.
Actually, you have intuition. You can use intuition if you want. Instead of rolling, spend a 3 willpower point.
No, I'm not going to use that right. No, okay. I'm just going to roll. That is... I want to save the roll points. That's an 8 under. It's an 8 under.
Okay.
12.
You look up to where, in the southwest or southeast, where this would be, and you can't see the monolith down there, and you can't see the things there. It's just too far from where you are, even though you're so high up. It's just too far. As you're looking at it, you understand that as per the map that you saw, that theoretically the seventh sister, the missing sister, should be down there, as well as the other one, Liv. But when you look at it, you get a brief sense of, it's almost like a poet looking out at a wonderful vista, and just suddenly sort of, fully formed, having a story come into their minds almost. But as you look at it, you get this sense of this epic tragedy of a fallen hero, someone who should have been heralded as a great savior and who made one fatally tragic decision. The sense of hamartia, you know, having been enacted and having made a tragic decision that led to basically this hero turning into a villain in the book of history. You get a sense of a long voyage, a trip far to the north. You feel the weight and the presence of Kettleheim and Yggdrasil behind you from when you visited it. And you suddenly get this tale, as I said, sort of fully formed in your head about this hero who makes a tragic mistake and a trip down a river, a betrayal, and then something being hidden but not being what it's supposed to be or what people expect it to be. Tune in tomorrow.
I think even despite the heavy furs, Amloth just feels the hairs stand up on his arms and the back of his neck, and just has a moment of whatever the opposite of deja vu is, sort of something yet to come, and then quietly turns back to the group.
Dara?
Yeah, so I think Dara, his first instincts are to, like, you know, unhook the pickaxe from his utility belt and, like, start prepping rope and stuff for the descend down into the plume. And as he, like, sinks the pickaxe down into the ice and, you know, stands up and stretches out and getting a good look at the view, I think his eyes probably fixate for a very long time on the Riven Mountain and the bad omen that would be for him and his people.
As you look down into it, you know now also that the one of the monoliths that's been destroyed as per the map would be sort of in the path of that scar, that explosion that's sort of happened. And as you're doing that, you get this sense of these things you're dealing with right now, these monoliths, these powers, these spirits, all these things you're dealing with right now. You get this incredible sense of how needed they are, how powerful tools they are, but also how absolutely dangerous and precarious their use is, and how your life and the life of this world and life of this planet basically constantly just rides on that edge between these things functioning the way they're supposed to and not tipping over on the other side, and that balance is incredibly difficult to sort of maintain. And you kind of get the weight of that sense of that precariousness, of how these powers are so useful and how you rely on them, but at the same time how dangerous they are and how uncontrollable they can be, especially as a storm caller. This is something you clearly understand. And as you take time to contemplate and look out over this, I'll give each of you an advantage to put in your little bank. You shake it off, knowing you're here for some business. How do you proceed down this chimney?
Successfully.
As we say in French, mais encore. But what else?
Yeah, so I think Dara quickly starts cinching one end of the rope around his waist, and then rather than tying it off at a knot on his waist, he knots it into the pickaxe that he thrust into the ice under his feet, and then he helps Claudia with the other end around her waist.
I will assume that you know what you're doing, and I'm going to make you make a roll to see if you cinch her correctly. You feel fairly secure, Claudia. Start going down?
Yeah. I fake like I'm gonna jump, and then let's go down
Psych.
slowly.
Like, go ahead and give me an acrobatics check, and you can do it with
Fearless.
Yeah, you want to spend your fearless here, or
Yeah.
are you sure?
Well, I guess if someone's helping me.
Well, I was going to tell you to do it with advantage since you have a professional mountaineer who secured your ropes. And...
Oh, okay, perfect.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
As long as it's not a 20.
17 over 12.
So it's a rough ride down as you slip and start bouncing ping pong
Clang,
style.
pong, clang, clang, pong, pong.
Yeah, and I will say that with your strength score being so low, that it is a lot more demanding than you expect. And while you don't slip or kill yourself or anything, by the time you manage to get down, you've kind of been, bounced around and kind of battered a little bit. So I will give you the status of exhausted.
Oh, perfect.
All this means is that you can't push strength rolls. I will remind you also, sorry. Yeah,
please tell me that they are covered in soot.
Oh, yeah. Completely. From head to toe. Just a reminder that you can also use your memento at some point if you have time to interact with it to cure a condition. So, but you will come down all the way here. Give me a spot hidden as you approach this weird sort of grate that blocks the way.
My glove gives me advantage on spot hidden.
Wow. Who gave you that thing?
I don't know. Handy, it's time for us to get into this place. I got a 2 under something.
Excellent.
Nice.
So you realize that there's a hinge system that would allow it to kind of come down and up, but you also realize as you come down that there's a lock mechanism and that it's been shattered. And fairly recently too, because a good chunk of the grate is covered in ice, but where the hinges are and where the lock is, the ice is all broken.
Someone doesn't want us down here.
Or someone's been through here.
What are you going on about?
It's safe. Come.
So you realize that you with a couple good kicks, you can sort of kind of send it down. As you descend lower, you come to this area and you can tell it's been recently broken through the wall. And there's a tunnel that's been dug that seems to go down at a slightly fairly safe sort of ramp. The other thing you're noticing is that you're starting to feel heat here, and it's starting to feel fairly uncomfortable at the level where you're at. When you look down now, you can clearly see that there's lava on the ground below. And you can see other sort of machinery, little lights blinking, things like that. Again, nothing really moving, no sound happening, but you can clearly feel here some of the heat from this thing that's coming up.
We'll call down to Claudia and say, can you tie off the rope to anything?
Can I find anything to tie it off?
Yeah, there's tons of debris there that you could tie it off to in like outcroppings of rock and whatnot.
Sick. I will try to do that then.
Not a problem. You succeed.
Yeah.
You going down in the hole, or you going down? Keep going down in the chimney.
I'm gonna go down the hole, I think.
Okay. So just to expedite a little bit, the rest of you will come down via the rope. You can give me, Miko, a mountaineering roll, and although you can give me, well, you don't really have
Anything.
So you're going
I have some advantages though, so
yeah, but it's fine. I'll say that between Dara's skill and the other guys upstairs, they can sort of tie you up and bring you down. I will ask you to do just for give me just a straight well, your agility is pretty terrible. What kind of Waldron are you?
the talky kind.
Give me a bushcraft
Kind who enjoys a pipe and a meal. Huh?
Give me a bushcraft roll just to see if you can survive without getting banged up too much. Miko, what did you get?
All right.
All right, you're good. You managed to come down without too much of an issue.
I'm going to use another of my advantages for this because I don't want to be going out of this early in the episode.
While you're down there, Miko, give me a stoneworking roll. Did you fail?
Out of curiosity, for Amloth, with between Dara and the very strong individuals behind us, could we have just tied a rope around him and lowered him down?
He's not gonna fall. He's not gonna fall or anything.
Oh, okay.
I just want to see if he's gonna.
I'd rather hurt my hip than my pride.
But I want to see how arduous the
Sure,
trip is.
fair enough.
16 and a 14 over 12.
All right. So I will give you the same thing. I will give you exhausted also.
Okay.
As you come down, and it's just a bit of an experience coming down there.
You wanted stoneworking, right?
Yes, please.
I got 13 under 15.
You notice that probably whatever caused the tunnel, created the tunnel, was a pretty powerful blow of some sort, and you can see when you look up that there are serious now fault lines that have been cracked. You can see them in black.
Yeah.
Here, that have been cracked along these two areas, and I've probably weakened the fumarole quite a bit. It's probably only holding together now because of the ice that's encasing it.
Good to know.
So you will eventually make it down, and we'll take a break here in just a minute, but you will eventually arrive. The tunnel opens up into a passageway that is tiled in a strange sort of square yellow tile. And the tunnel, it kind of falls into it, and you can see like it goes up towards you don't know what in one direction, but you can see light and hear noise as you arrive basically here, and there's a doorway there. And you can hear, first of all, you can smell bergamot. And you hear someone whistling and sort of softly singing. And you hear some banging and clanging. Like someone's operating some tools or some machinery. There's a nice smell of a very earthy smell, very plant-based smell. There's that bergamot also. And then the oh, yeah.
Have all the, as much as I want to let this go for as long as we could all, have all the Ashkari followed us down?
Yeah, they're all sort of coming down. The tunnel's getting a little cramped for them, but they're managing to squeeze through.
Okay. Does this feel how am I trying to put this? Does this feel very old, and if this person is here, is this kind of recently reoccupied kind of feeling, or does this feel like a dwelling that has been here and maintained?
So it has the feel of a dwelling that hasn't been really occupied in a long time. There's a lot of dust on the ground, a lot of the tile is broken, and it looks like very ancient. You see the wall. You can't excuse me, but some of the wall elements are similar to what was in the monolith that you saw, like these golden, these sort of golden walls and these structures here. You had the same things sort of in the monoliths. The carpet is completely destroyed. It feels very ancient and sort of not lived in a very, very long time.
Give Claudia a kind of after you gesture.
Very enthusiastically nods, and she's gonna try to sneak into the room.
When you walk into that room, you'll notice down here there's a little nook with a couple of what look to be probably at some point comfy chairs, but they're kind of old. But there's a lot of plants here, a lot of different plants. There's a teapot where the bergamot smell is coming from, and there's like a little cup. There's a book that's opened on the table. The sounds seem to be coming from down here. When you walk into this sort of what looks like a living quarter, like kind of a living area, there's all sorts of machinery around, handles, dials, all sorts of things, strange instruments that you don't know. The lights on the wall are these weird sort of round glass things that just glow sort of on their own, like they're not fire or oil or anything like that. You notice here the same statue that you'd seen in the monolith, which was this.
Does this statue look like it's sort of cleaned and lovingly polished and maintained, or is it just part of?
About the same as the rest of the house.
Okay.
Like there's a good coating of dust and.
Okay,
and
so it doesn't look like this is being sort of reverently.
No, the only thing that seems like it's been sort of cleaned off is this corner where the plants have been spruced up and the chairs have been dusted, and the little teapot and whatnot. And the sound seems to be coming. There's sort of you can kind of see through here through these two walls. There's like a big screen there, and it's got a map that's very similar to the one you saw in the other thing. Do you move further in? What do you do?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna motion for someone to grab that book because I want to know what it is, and I'm just gonna head towards the noise.
I'll pick up the book.
Move forward. You can see here the floor is painted white, and there's machinery here that's dead. It's not moving. It's not doing anything. It looks like there were some dials and different things to sort of. It all looks like gauges and stuff like that, like things you would use to control machinery kind of thing. And the floor is painted white, like I was saying. There's another ratty carpet over here. Here the ground is very damaged. It's cracked. The tile is cracked, but the ground beneath it is also cracked and damaged. Like there was some major sort of underground kind of shakeup at some point. And as you sort of step forward here and see that there are several other rooms sort of kicking around, you hear the singing voice approaching, and then from around the screen, you see this dude sort of come around, sees you and go, "Well, you're not supposed to be here."
Are you supposed to be here?
As you speak to him, your glove starts to act up. You can see little lights sort of activating on it. You can feel that little sort of tingling feeling that you feel when it's activating. And he says, "My apologies, you are indeed supposed to be here. Welcome. Would you like some bergamot tea?"
Oh, please, yes.
And on that note, we will take our break here and come back to the bergamot tea momentarily, as you see this iron golem as very ratty, very old clothing on him, but his tools seem very well maintained and kind of well taken care of. We will take a short break here to reinvigorate ourselves with some bergamot tea, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the advantages you give the players, and when we come back, we will get a sense exactly how good is this Iron Golem's bergamot tea. Thanks for hanging out. See you in a bit.
Find out.
Bye.
We have returned from our hunt for bergamot tea. I don't even know what bergamot tastes like. I like green tea. Bergamot probably tastes
do you like Earl Grey?
Yeah.
And you like bergamot?
Okay. Bergamot sounds like it would taste like old people.
We're gonna quickly move past that taste profile.
As you come into the room, this Iron Golem comes out. So saying he looks dressed in rags, like his clothes are very old. They've kind of just through time rotting or kind of falling off his frame. As you engage with him, you take a look around, and I'll just describe briefly the various rooms that you see here. So you have this one right here, which is sort of painted white, and the machinery is kind of down. And there's another one over here that the entire room looks like it's painted black, and the machinery is also shut down. And there's a door that's closed in front of it, and you can just see through a little bit of glass or what's in there. The one in the corner here, the machinery's still going, but it's only humming very, very slightly. And you can see a lot of moss and lichen and green stuff sort of growing everywhere around it. This one over here at the top, again, the machinery is also going sort of very lightly, just kind of humming along. The floor is like about this much water sort of covering it. At the front, this one here is very warm, and same thing, the machinery is sort of humming a little bit. The tile is different here, being this sort of orangey red, and at the other end, the machinery that's going on here is also kind of working, and there's little dust devils that spin sort of all over in this room. And in the front here is a major work console with tons of dials and tools and levers and buttons and all that. And there's another big screen. And on that screen, you can see what you imagine is the room that you could see down at the bottom of the chimneys, which is this vast room with like this lava on the floor and all this tubing. And there's like this big gander that's sort of over everything. And there's a bunch of different controls sort of all over the place. And again, it seems kind of very quiet and sort of down low. However, on the screen where the dials and all these things are, you can see a lot of activity. Like there's this, the dials are all kind of moving, and there's, you know, counters that are sort of going, and there's lights blinking everywhere. And sort of as soon as this Iron Golem figures that Claudia's cool because of her glove, he'll keep talking to you, but he goes back and he's pushing some buttons and rolling some dials and moving some levers and checking his screen and whatnot as he's sort of talking to you. And he'll say, tea's just over there on the table at the entrance if you want it. Please help yourself. There's plenty more where that came from.
Oh, thank you. Do you mind if I brought some companions with me?
Mind? I don't think I've ever minded anything in my life. I don't even know what mind means.
Well, you minded that I was here before you realized that I
didn't mind. It made no difference to me. I was just saying that it was against protocol, but it seems that you are perfectly cleared to be here, and I would assume that if you are cleared, so too are your friends.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. I will I will go over to the door. I'll wave them in. I'll be like, let's take a look around. And I want to interrogate. Well, interrogate is a harsh word, but I want to ask many questions to this robot feller.
Got it out, friend. Thank you for having us. Smells very nice in here.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a little musty, so I sprayed a little bit of this. Oh, I don't even know how to explain it. It smells like it's this little it's potpourri. It's called, and here you see here that and it shows you there's like a little tube here. It's like I can shoot some of this fine mist of it into the air, and it really does wonders. I myself don't smell, but my olfactory my olfactory gauges were telling me that it was feeling a little bit musty and damp in here. So
much obliged.
No problem. It's all part of the protocols.
And those protocols being...
Well, they're the protocols. How else are you going to do anything? You need protocols.
Well, is the functioning of the three dragons part of protocol? I don't think they're working as initially intended by Erminaz.
Oh, they're not meant to be working. Would you mind moving that lever there about quarter position up?
Sure. I'll try to move it.
Yeah, your glove grabs it and remove it. Thank you. Very kind of you.
Thank you.
This will save me 0.03 seconds.
Fantastic. I hope we're not taking too much time away from...
Oh, no, I can multitask.
Stellar. How long have you been active?
It's difficult to tell. The counter doesn't go back past 1,200 years.
Oh, I see.
Those are mortal years.
Okay. So we're I have been sent here to try and get the fumerals up and working. Is that something you can help me with?
Well, of course not. Oh, we haven't met. My name is Fimble. He extends a hand.
Hi, Fimble. I'm Claudia, and this is Handy. I'll shake with my robot hand.
In fact, that's not his proper nomenclature, and then he rattles off this long, complex series of letters and numbers. But Andy will do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad it will do.
He sees you, Dara, and he's like, "Ah, a fellow craftsman. Pleasure to meet you, sir. It's a very fine hammer you have there."
Thank you. I take pride in it. I'm curious. My name's Dara, by the way. You said that your name was Fimble, did it?
That's right. That is my designation.
Right. Fimble, has any other guests traversed through here in recent time?
Guests? No.
Individuals that may or may not supposed to be here.
Yes.
And how long ago was that, and where are they off to? Do you by chance know?
12 hours, 7 minutes, 13 seconds.
Someone's been here today.
It's fairly precise.
I am nothing if not precise. Made of the finest quality. I admit,
right.
1,000 years of inactivity has left me some of my system's not working too well.
So you have been inactive for... Sorry,
yes.
Emma.
How long have you been awake, friend?
12 hours, 14 minutes, 33 seconds.
Ah.
Would you mind pressing that button over there, please? Thank you.
Who was it who woke you up?
By Dr. Erminaz, of course.
12 hours ago.
12 hours, 15 minutes, 22 seconds.
I apologize. Just, yes, 12 hours and 15. Is Gaithra in the room?
Yeah, her and her men are like kind of walking around, checking the different rooms. A couple of them are jumping in the puddle of water.
Easily amused. Did she
Couple
hear
of others
that?
are trying to.
Did she hear that last part?
Yeah, she's coming over. She's like, "Did we just miss him?"
About 12 hours ago.
God damn it!
Where did he head off to, Fimble?
I don't know. The good doctor didn't see fit to tell me.
Did he head back up that passageway that we came down through, or did he go a different direction?
At what point?
When he left.
When he left, yes, he went that way.
What was he doing while he was here?
Oh, working, of course.
Of course, but, on what exactly?
He had some adjustments to make to the forge.
Do you know what adjustments those were?
He did not tell me.
Can we see where he was working?
Certainly. Presses a button, and the wall behind the screen starts to kind of open up. And what you see on the other side is this room that looks like this. There is this walkway made of stone. Dozens, you only see a few there, but dozens of these huge cylinders that all connect at the center. There are these two huge furnaces that are burning very timidly right now, sort of in the center. There appears to be some sort of leak to the north where some of the tubes have begun leaking this sort of dark purple liquid that's kind of spreading, and you can see that this is caused by these giant vines, the same that you saw in the monolith, that have started crawling out and started crushing the various tubes that are in this room, and there are a couple of control stations of some sort over here, one here and one here. And you can see the vines are growing and crushing these things. And as they do, you can see steam coming out and more liquid sort of shoots out, and the flames are slowly kind of petering out in the furnaces.
Right to the source.
Claudia, a lot of the elements here you recognize from when you were in that temple in Blight Rock. The furnaces that you see are very similar to that furnace where the living flame was.
Okay.
And a lot of the other materials and tools are very similar to what you saw there. But yeah, those two main sort of furnaces here are exactly the same kind of design, except way bigger than where the living flame was. You remember that thing that they both fell into and then came out having...
Yeah. Okay.
Would you mind pressing that? Oh, never mind. I've got it. Press the button.
What's going on in here, Fimble?
Oh, I've begun the shutdown protocol.
Run that past me one more time. The
shutdown protocol?
Why?
Well, it's not safe to run the destruction protocol without the machinery being shut down first.
So, once the machinery's been shut down, you're going to run the destruction protocol?
Yes.
All right.
Those are my orders.
I'm no engineer, so talk to me as you would a child. The destruction protocol, that sounds pretty final. Would that be right?
Speaking of destruction protocol, Lord Gazumba crashing in with the raid. Thank you so much. We super appreciate you. Thanks for coming in just at the moment where our intrepid heroes have discovered the machinery they've been looking for all this time and realized that it's about to blow up, because, you know, that's what these things do. Thank you so much Jay, and everyone from the channel for the raid. I'm sorry, Amloth, for interrupting you there.
No, I was just struggling with the concept of a destruction protocol. That sounds
well. You see, little boy, when a mommy and
I'm gonna let
daddy,
that slide.
Well, you said to speak to you like a child.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Would you rather I speak to you as a fully grown human?
Maybe speak to me like someone in their early 20s, but who didn't pay much attention at school.
Ah, yes. You have the look. We need to shut down the furnaces so that when we hit the negation protocol, which is going to destroy all the machinery in here, they don't explode and cause a rather devastating explosion.
I'm guessing then that this was a purpose set task to you by the previous visitor.
Well, it has long been my task to do this. According to my calculations, it should not have been necessary to do this for quite a while yet, but Dr. Erminaz overrode those protocols and set me to work immediately. This was only supposed to happen in a few more thousand years.
Don't you think that that's a mite strange that he would invoke such a thing so soon?
Oh, well, I thought so at first, but now that I've gotten some readings from what's going on everywhere else across the planet, I think you made the right call.
What other readings are you
well, you can see
reading?
Over here. He points on the screen, you see a bunch of squiggles and lines and dots and stuff that mean really nothing to you. It's clear as day.
Andy,
Right.
can you tell me what this means?
So you reach out with your glove and you touch the screen, and as you do, it starts to translate sort of everything that's on the screen. What you're seeing, go through it, and how much of it or little you get, I'll leave it up to you to decide how much your character would get. But basically, what you're seeing is that the state of the world is one that what's the word I'm looking for? Christ, I need an English teacher. It should not be the state where you're at right now is the state of not decomposition, but I can't find the word right now, but is way more advanced than it should be. Like
entropy.
Well, basically there was it was clear that eventually, through time, just through using the planet and just through people being on and all that, it would eventually go back to being an ice ball and kind of the cycle of it. And so let's use that word. It's the cycle. You're way more advanced along the cycle than you should really be.
Because of the shatter storms.
You're getting the feeling that the shatter storms are kind of a byproduct of it more than anything else, like in that because the monoliths haven't been regulating things. Think of the monoliths as purifiers in some ways, where they regulate things, and so when there's too much of something, they make less of it and more of something else and sort of keep the balance. But because they've been shut down so long, that maintenance hasn't been happening, and one of the side effects of that has been the shatter storms occurring. But what it's done is that it's really precipitated the decay, is the word I was looking for earlier.
There you go.
The state of decay of the very fabric of the world, basically. Decay.
So out of curiosity then, Mr. Fimble,
yes.
Smart being metal person that you are, is there any way to reverse this process and potentially save all the life on this planet? Because it feels like we're about to pretty much cause some rampant destruction, or at least advance it by a few thousand years.
Reverse it? Probably not. Slow it down, certainly. I mean, if you were to repower the monoliths, you would probably gain, quick calculation, 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 years. Really a pittance.
Right, a pittance, but there's a lot of people that are gonna live and in that time.
All those people are going to die anyways in that time.
Right, but
And more will also.
Certainly someone amongst that plethora of people might be able to solve the problem.
I would doubt it. I mean, Dr. Ambiance was the most brilliant mind literally that this world has ever seen, and he's not been able to solve it, and so he's decided to pull the plug rather than continue limping along.
Right, and don't you find that a bit strange?
Oh, it's not for me to judge. I'm simply here to make sure the protocols are observed.
Master Fimble, might I just conspire with my friends here for just a moment?
Oh, please, I have tons of work to do.
Thank you very much.
There's not much time left. You may as well enjoy it in the company of your friends.
That's what I'm
over there.
Thank you. That's what I'm intending. I got a little card game to teach them just for the final minutes we have left.
Huh, cards. I love cards. Of course, people are always accusing me of cheating just because, well, counting. But I assure you, I don't cheat.
Sorry, we do only have a few moments, so would you mind?
Oh, please.
Much obliged.
You'll have to move as this is my workstation.
Of course. And we'll just sort of leave the other two. Just can we go and find a corner elsewhere?
You can go and find a corner elsewhere.
Listen,
Claudia, you better be able to fucking tell me that magical handy hand of yours can rewrite his brain and make him perhaps rethink this protocol, whatever shite.
Well,
otherwise, we're going to be dealing with a very upset anal retentive robot with a trust issue.
well, it seems like we're dealing with that anyway. But I don't know. Andy has helped me with fixing things before. I don't know. They did get us access here technically, so thanks, Andy. But well, we can try to change Fimble's mind, and then we just if that doesn't work, let's just go around them. Honestly.
How do you propose we go around them? We can't very well figure out ourselves to undo what he's already said and done. Unless you got more smarts in that hand of yours than you're letting on.
Oh yeah, plenty. But
all right then. And I like pull Skyforger out of the holster at my hip and start walking towards Fimble.
Oh please, there's no need for violence.
Oh, don't worry, it'll be over soon.
Oh no.
What did you do?
Dara, friend, just before we make any decisions that can't be undone, between your brain and that hand, is there anything are we supposed to be dealing with? Do you get the sense we should be dealing with the machinery in this room, which at a quick count seems to line up with the monoliths, or back in yon corrupted furnace room?
Hey, Noble Crumpet, thank you so much for the raid. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. Playing some Dragonbane powered Shadesong here.
I'll go check out the rooms with the big furnaces. While trying to, I'll ask Handy what would be if I could rewrite what Fimble's telling me. How would I do that? Is there a specific terminal in here, or?
My feeling, Claudia, is that there's not much you'll be able to do that way. You would very likely have to reset things manually. Mm-hmm. If Erminaz has been here and knew enough about people being on his trail that he posted guards outside the bridge, then he would certainly have destroyed any means of simply forcing Fimble or rewiring Fimble or hacking into the system and simply reversing whatever protocol he's enacted. More than likely you would need to manually reset the machinery. I don't expect that Fimble would oppose you. I don't assume that would be his protocol.
No. Okay. Fimble,
Yes, ma'am.
I am up. I don't think that Ermanaz is right. Dr. Ermanaz was right. I know that that's a tall order.
I don't think he's right. I don't think he's wrong. I don't think a lot about him otherwise.
Okay, great.
He does what he does.
I'm going to go into the furnace room.
Very well. Be careful. It is about to explode.
I'll follow you, Claudia. Thimble, I couldn't help noticing there's some rather nasty plants growing around your beautiful, pristine pipes in there. That surely can't be helping the whole process.
I do believe Dr. Erminas put those there, so I must assume that he had some well-thought-out reason for doing so.
Or he's just, the seeds come in on your shoes half the time. I mean, I can't be sure that was
I
totally...
don't think he was wearing shoes. But I suppose there is a small percentage chance that you're right. However, I did see him, what's the word you like to use, you Wildren, muck about in there. And so I would assume that very likely it is his doing. Who are we to question the great Dr. Erminas?
Well, I'm Amloth. That's Dara, and that's Claudia. We question him. We're questioning him quite seriously.
Well, it is your right to do so. You won't find me arguing against you.
That's obliged. And I'll follow Claudia in, and as you do, I'm
just not sure I understand the logic behind what you wish to accomplish.
Keep breathing. That's what I kind of like myself.
Well, the chances are very good that even once the destruction protocol is activated, that you will be able, unless you're standing right here, but you will still be able to go on living your entire life, and very likely your children also. The world should not decay that quickly. So see, it's not very logical.
I think my grandchildren might disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from. Excuse me.
Do you have grandchildren?
Not yet, but I'd like to. And keep moving on.
You could just avoid having them. That is a decision that you can make.
These seem like life choices you're making for me, Thimble. Thank you.
I'm not making them, merely making suggestions.
Dara just spins Skyforger in his hand and steps in front of Thimble and says, "All right, you're starting to get a little bit on my nerves."
It's a very nice hammer.
It is.
Have you
I'm
ever
very
considered
good at
updating
using it. It's good enough for what I need doing, and it's certainly good enough for making my point here. You seem to have this notion that life doesn't really seem to matter much on this planet.
I don't.
And you're setting about to help with actions that could end, what did you call it, the decay, bring about the decay sooner than it should.
Well, it's
so
not for me.
Either you don't care about the life on the planet, or you overly care too much about following someone else's designs.
In the grand scheme of things, the lives currently on this planet are fairly insignificant. I'm simply observing the protocols that have been set before me. I don't see why you're getting so upset.
I'm one that likes to question protocols, especially when they set about to end in people's lives.
Well, that is certainly your right. That is a very nice hammer. Will you be hammering me now, or may I go back to my work?
No, I think you need to stop doing your work and let my friends see if they can figure out something else. Unless you would like to help my friends out in their protocols.
I'm afraid I can't do that. Unfortunately.
And why is that?
How about... Well, because I have orders not to do so. How about you do your thing and I'll do my thing?
And if those two things become contradictory, what do you expect to happen?
It's a very interesting question. I'm no match for you physically, and you're no match for my brains. No. It's like, I don't know. I don't have a protocol to cover that.
You should make one. You should probably figure out a way to think for yourself rather than having somebody else think for you.
Oh, that sounds like way too much trouble. May I ask you a question?
Depends. Is it going to lead me to wanting to hammer you upside the head more?
Chances are 46.5% that they will.
Well, that's a risk you're taking, then, not me.
Well, I'm nothing if not a risk taker. More bergamot. That was not the question I wanted to ask you. The question I want to ask you is this. You are a Dverg, am I right? From
Aye.
the Highlands?
Aye.
I've been absorbing some of the history that's gone on while I was asleep, let us say. It seems to me that you've sort of brought this on yourself.
That may very well be.
This dependence of yours on these powers that you draw from the monoliths are not going to disappear just because the monolith functions again. In fact, you're simply going to very likely double down on it. Chances are that this is what will happen throughout history. Mortal beings have consistently, well, not perhaps consistently, but I would say overwhelmingly, made the poorest choice they can in any decision put before them. I would expect you would do the same, and if not you personally, because of what you've seen, certainly most of the others who've not seen this and honestly couldn't care less about it, we'll be right back here in 100 years, 150 years.
You don't know that. Living beings tend to find all kinds of different ways of fucking things up, and it's not necessarily always going to be the same one. All we can try to do is fix our fuck-ups that we've got right now, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, in some ways, that's what the Doctor is trying to do also. And I'm not taking his side here. I'm not taking any sides. I don't take sides. It's not part of my program. But I'm simply stating the fact that I believe that's what he's doing also. I believe that he's attempting to save mortals from dozens, hundreds of years of, well, you saw the impact of the, how do you call them? Shatter storms on your people. Can you imagine a world entirely covered by those? That is where we're headed.
I'm one that has survived the shitstorm of shatter storms when I probably shouldn't have. And I've done everything I can to make sure that other people survive them too. And so in this particular instance, Mr. Metalman, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Because frankly...
Not part of my protocol.
Frankly, whatever's about to happen between Hermionaz and whatever grand scheme that he has of saving everyone from themselves, he's fucking full of it.
Well, that may very well be.
I'm always going to stand for people that want to live. And there's a lot of people on this world now and in the future that want to live.
That's very interesting. Food for thought. It's not given to me to automatically think of it the way a mortal would, but well,
you might should try that.
Unfortunately, it's not in my protocol. Now, if you'll excuse me, I won't interfere with your business.
You should try thinking for yourself a bit. You might find that life is worth living when you do.
Way too much work. Too much responsibility. Ugh. What do you do?
Just stand there watching him, waiting for somebody to tell me it's okay to end him.
So, yeah, he's been keeping...
downstairs?
Well, he's been keeping Fimble all busy. Yeah, so in this room, does it look like... the first thing I want to do is take a look at these vines and see... Do they look like they've crushed these pipes so badly that if I force them to recede, like there would be more leaks? Do you know what I mean? Like, have they done so much damage that removing them would actually be a worse idea right now?
Not removing them would be a worse idea.
Leaving them be would be worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, as soon as I come back down the steps, I'm dipping sunvine seeds and throwing them over at all of these in the corner.
And like it did.
Time to pull our socks up, Claudia, and I want to hand her the book that she asked me to pick up from a corner. Hope that's useful.
You see, Love in the Time of Automation is the title of the book.
I'm gonna say not for right now, but maybe later. I'll put it.
Your hands we should read that.
I had a quick glance at the title before I handed it over. I didn't really think it would be much, but to each their own. Seeds.
So as it did when you were in the monolith, as soon as the seeds and the end tiers touch the vines, they start to wither and sort of shrivel and go away. But like they did there, they kind of pull back into their hole. They don't disappear or anything. It's kind of like they're waiting for you to go away. You can see there's some damage to some of these pipes. Not knowing much about them, it might be a bit of a crapshoot to turn anything on. But
is that a ladder leading downwards in one of them?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Are there any terminals here, or they're just over in the with
Yeah, so those two things are sort of terminals. These two stations here.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go to the open one.
Okay. Yeah. So this the stairs just lead down to the two furnaces downstairs. This one looks like it was left open by someone who used it recently. You can press a button and little platform will come back.
I will go inside.
You go down into where the furnace is?
Yeah.
All right. When you get down there, you can see that this furnace that's there, very similar to the one you saw when you were in Blight Rock. As I was saying earlier, it's got the same symbols and sigils around it. And it seems to be anchored incredibly deep into the ground. Like, you can tell that this thing just goes really, really deep. And the flames that you see here seem to be they're very attenuated right now, but they certainly seem to be fire that's coming from the core of the planet itself. The machines themselves are kind of shut down. Nothing's happening. You can tell that some of these tubes that you see are there to bring air and ventilation so that the flames will grow higher, and there's probably some sort of bellows system. Your understanding of these things tells you there's probably underground or somewhere nearby some sort of gigantic bellows system that would need to be activated in order for these flames to start getting to the heat level they need to be at to power the rest of the systems.
And to my untrained eye, does everything appear to be in working shape? Like it's not doing anything, but...
No, not at all. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that's been smashed, a lot of stuff that's been cut, a lot of things that have been removed. It looks like someone's done a pretty serious job of sabotaging this.
I'll run out and I'll be like, that one's totally ruined, and I'll go to the terminal and ask Amloth if he can get the other one open. See if we can't get that furnace running.
It's not a problem. You go over there, same thing. You open it up and kind of got the same situation going on.
Someone's gone down and smashed it all.
Yeah.
Is one of these staircases leading somewhere we haven't been?
So that staircase goes down into sort of a tunnel, and you see that actually you don't see this is where you came through when you went. So when you were in the other room, to come into this room, you would have gone down these stairs here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And you came out. You came out through here. You came out through this little tunnel area.
Got it. And what about these stairs here?
Same thing. They just lead down into the lower area.
Okay.
The Gaithra and some of the others have started coming down here also, by the way.
Be like, it's about to blow. Go back. Go back.
They're like, "Are you sure Erminaz is not here? If he's here, I don't want to have him slip through my fingers again."
He came by 12 hours ago, apparently.
We'll do a quick search around in case he's just hiding and that thing up there is lying for him.
You're
They
willing
start
to
kind of
risk it.
searching around the area.
Okay. If the terminal here isn't going to do anything, I'm going to run back up to where Fimble and Dara are.
There's some sort of standoff going on where they're just staring at each other.
Down here in the furnace, everything else so far seems to have lined up with some ancient story or myth or something. Sitting here in the bowels of this, can Amloth just want to sort of like, especially if Claudia's just stepped away for a second, Amloth's just going to rack his brain because he's so far out of his depth with all of this and feeling rather useless.
Yep.
Can I use my intuition to see if I do the one thing that I'm good at and rake through every Dvarg, Eldrin, human story I've ever heard to see if there's a sort of metaphor or parable or anything that sort of feels like it sits here with us.
Sure. So spend the 3 willpower point for your intuition.
Yeah.
The thing that sticks to your mind is the name of the Iron Golem, Fimble. You do remember when you were in Kettleheim with the Jotun, they talked a lot about the Fimble winter, the winter that would precede the coming of Ragnarok and the end of the world. This sort of winter that would be 3 winters long, winter thrice, they would refer to it as. And within the scope of that, you're reminded of other tales and stories they told you. Very specifically one about their creation myth. That originally the world was only fire and ice, and the fire was called Muspel, and the ice realm of all was called Nifl. And as the two of them kind of grew closer to each other in time as they expanded, the flames of Muspel started melting the ice of Nifl. And this created in between the two of them a drop of water, not unlike the one that you saw in the monolith that was given to Adolo. That water was called Argilmir. It was the first Jotun, and it was from his body that the world around us was built. And the moral of that tale that you're getting is that the fire itself was not enough. You have this deep forge, these furnaces, but the fire itself was not enough. It needed the ice. It needed to melt it to create something. Simply restarting the forges probably won't do anything other than just burn a whole bunch of stuff. You need basically steam. This machine has to create steam in order to create the power that runs to the monoliths. Just the fires themselves are not going to do anything.
We need steam. And Amloth comes running back up the stairs to find the others. The fire isn't enough. The ice has coated the top of the volcano. I know it's not really a volcano. We need steam. That's what we need to get this going. The fire's not going to be enough.
I could have told you that.
Isn't it all set to be shut down anyway, though?
Can it, Fimble? Huh?
Isn't it all set to be shut down anyway, though? We can't. Is there a way that we can stop that?
Fimble, how can we get the bellows going below?
Well, that's what this team does.
Right. And?
Well, you would need to create steam.
All right.
So all we got to do is get some steam going in that chamber.
You need to create quite a bit of it.
That'll be enough.
You need to create quite a bit of it. And then, of course, he points at his machinery. The protocols are going to shut everything down. It would be very pointless for you to go through all the work of creating all this steam if this machine here in front of me was still whole and not smashed to bits.
Dara walks over and smashes it to bits.
As you're smashing this thing and just ripping it apart with Skyforger, Fimble turns to Claudia and says, I kept telling him what a wonderful hammer it was.
Oh, I see.
Progress!
Normally,
Right
you
now.
see someone with a hammer, they're just, looking for a nail.
Right now, all we got to do is bring an ice-coated fumarole down on our own heads. Simple, really.
Well, I have to repair this machine that you just so ungallantly broke, but
How long is that going to take you to do?
a few days. You're going to have another problem, however. And he points to the screen. And you can see images on the screen that flicker, and you can see figures in red robes that appear to be streaming in through a tunnel. Friends of yours.
No.
Is that another way in and out of this place?
There are a few ways in and out of this place. They appear to be coming from the
For
south.
fuck's sakes.
Gethra, I hope your axe is thirsty.
I haven't found him yet!
You're about to find someone.
What is this stuff? It's very disgusting.
Well, leave that alone because you've got some red cleric folks coming your way.
Oh, well, they'll have to do, I guess.
Bimble, point them in the direction where that screen indicates those people are coming from.
Unfortunately, I'm busy fixing this machine that you've broken.
And I'm going to break your hands and keep you from fixing it unless you tell them.
Oh, and Kuth.
Well, I'm changing the protocols.
They'll be coming from the northeast.
And then I'm going to pull Claudia and Amloth down into the chamber and look up into the fumarole.
How are we going to take that down?
Well, that depends. How good are you at climbing?
Well, you saw on the way up, but I could probably make it. Might as well try.
Look,
So what's your plan, Stan?
I don't know if... I'll give this a go if both of you tell me that this is the way that you want it done. But the only solution that I've got, and Dara pulls out his fire rune lock. The only solution that I've got is to blow the lid off this place and cause the ice to come falling and crashing down into this chamber below. But I don't know if I've got the skills to make that. And frankly, I don't know if anyone that does is going to survive the effort. So and Dara is looking mostly at Claudia because he knows Amloth has a quest before him that does not involve sacrificing himself into the top of the fumarole. If you tell me that you can go down and help deal with the machines and the red people and all of that, then I'll do my best to make that climb up. But if you tell me that you'd be better off trying to do the climb and cracking this rune lock against that loose bit of rock that was set undone, that we came in through, then that's the path. Which way is it, Claudia? You tell me.
No, I've always landed on my feet, and I'm sure this will just be another run. Let's go. I'll give it to me. If I do die, take my hand. It will be painful for you to put it on, but you'll need it.
That was towards you, I'm certain.
With these harpist's fingers, I don't think so, friend.
So as you're talking, you can hear the sound of battle as a number of red priests have come into the room and engaged with the Ashkari and Gethra. And they seem to be holding their own right now. There's one down here who appears to be sort of a leader type. As they come in, you can see sort of regular red priests with their bronze masks. They're carrying maces and appear to be using some type of magic as they fight. And then leading them is this one who has slightly different mask made of iron and has a shield and khopesh that he is wielding quite menacingly. But Gethra and her men meet them, and the sound of battle reaches your ears, but you have other fish to fry right now, as we will draw some initiative. So someone needs to go up there. That's a good plan, to go up there and bring the ice down, but you need to get the furnaces working down here so that when the ice comes down, it actually melts and turns into steam. So you're going to need to find a way to activate the 2 furnaces that are down here whilst Claudia climbs up there. What will Amloth be doing?
Staying down here and trying to keep people invigorated and not dying.
Not dying is always good. All right. That's a 5 for Dara. It's a 7 for Amloth. It's a 2 for Claudia. It's a 1 for the Red Priest, a 6 for the Ashkari.
Beautiful.
Does anyone have any sort of initiative-based power that they want to use?
Is lower numbers higher in the initiative order, or is it the other way around?
Lower, for 1 goes first. Thank you, Epic Realms, for the raid. You're coming just at the climax here as they are attempting to fire up this forge while their allies are trying to hold off the incoming evil red priests. Yeah, so one is the number 1. So I'm not going to bother playing out the fight between the NPCs because that's just no one needs to see that. I will rather base what happens to them on how your rolls and so on and so forth are going. So then the first one will be Claudia with the 2. So you are on this platform. That access point that you had, there's a couple of ways you can get to that. You can run back to it, climb through the thing, or you're pretty high here. You could try to use your sword to snake up a rope to then try to climb it. How would you like to go about that?
I think sword rope is probably fastest, so I'm going to do that.
Okie dokie. So you will use your sword. There's you've gotten all the ropes from the various the other the Ashkari and all that. Give me once more a what was it that I was making you roll?
Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand to see how well you can make this rope snake up there.
So that is a 4 under 12.
That's pretty good. So the 2 of you watch as, like a snake with a snake charmer, the rope just slowly starts to move up, as she moves the sword and coaxes this rope up, and it just kind of goes up, and you're very much at the edge of where you are of your range with this thing, but you can kind of manage to get it up there, and it goes around the rock a couple of times, and then you kind of secure it with a rope, with a knot, well, calice with a knot, and with your roll, you manage to pull it. So the fight is kind of intensifying around you. You can hear there's a couple of people that have fallen already. The clash of swords is rising all around you. You attach that rope and start climbing up. At 5, what is Adara going to do?
I look at Amloth. Are you going down or not? We got to get fires going.
I've been down there. I'm not much use with all them pipes and tubing. I think that's more your department than mine.
Fair enough. And he's going to head down into the chambers below and see if there's anything that he can do to remove the safeties, as it were, to get the fires flaring.
So give me a crafting roll. While he's doing that, Amloth, you see Gethra is over here fighting against the boss, Tavul, and one of his minions that has come up. While her men are busy, she seems to be a little hard pressed as she's holding off these two kind of at the same time. Just telling you that so that you know sort of what's going on. What did you get, Dara?
So I used an advantage from Pixie Lady earlier. Thank you, Pixie. And I got a 2 and a 9 under 15.
Okay. So that's pretty good. You will make your way up here without much of a problem, Claudia. You climb up there, and you can kind of see the cracks in the ceiling and whatnot that Dara was talking about. Dara, you go down into the machinery. You've never really seen anything quite like it, but at the end of the day, the system is the same system as you would have in any sort of furnace type system. It's just a question of getting some air in here. You start looking around to see if there are vents that you can kind of open to kind of spark it up. The fire that's burning, it's not like it's burning in a bowl there or something. It's really coming from really, really kind of deep down below. So you realize you have to get the air in there to kind of get it to rise out of that. One of the things that you see probably Ermunaz or whoever was here earlier has destroyed, there was a system of pipes that would basically blow air down into that. And they've all been kind of smashed to bits. So you would have to kind of jury rig something to be able to use that machine. So that machine that's over here on the side looks like when you activate it, there's some sort of like accordion thing, like a small bellows in there, and it looks like it would probably sort of pump some air. But the pumps themselves, the tubes and whatnot have been destroyed. So you need to kind of try to jury rig something to get that going. Probably the same thing sort of on the other side. So your first crafting roll was to understand that. Okay. So this is sort of what you understand. Now, you kind of have two choices. One choice is that to try and fix that machine. You may have other options. Do you have anything that can produce? Unfortunately, you don't have the rune lock anymore with the air thing. That could have been used also. But if you have anything that can produce, that you can inject air down into that tube, that would bring, or fuel. If you had some sort of fuel.
Right. I do have the Gust of Wind spell to at least like test the theory that that functions the way it's intended. But I have a different idea in regards to like being able to reuse some different pipe, maybe. Mm-hmm. Because I see that there's like multiple pipes branching off in different directions, right? Yeah. And I know from that map that we had seen before that these furnaces feed into different directions into other towers, the monoliths, yeah. And so I'm wondering if there's any way that I could suss out from the orientation of them which one was headed in the direction of the one that was dead, that was destroyed, that we know was destroyed.
Yeah, so I will say, in order to do that, give me, it's going to sound weird, but I'm going to say give me a mountaineering, because it's going to, with mountaineering, you're going to be able to kind of remember the mountains, sort of where you are, the last few things that you saw, kind of, gauge a direction kind of thing.
No problem. I will use the advantage that you gave earlier for that, leaving me with one left. So hopefully I can still get away with this. That is a 13 under 14.
Right. So that's perfectly all that you need.
Just enough.
Yeah, you can tell that as opposed to what you might have thought originally, it being maybe this one, it would be this one.
Right. And so yeah, my first instinct then is going to be to dismantle that pipe and try to repurpose it to connect to the bellows system.
Perfect. All right. So you'll rush on over there and start working on that business. That'll be your action for now. Amloth at 7.
Seeing him go off to work there, Amloth just strides to the middle of the room, and in a voice that echoes and bounces off the walls, he says, "In the name of all who yet dance and smile upon this world, I, Amloth of the Wildren, curse all of those who would stab at joy itself. And I want to give all of them a bane as they hear that war cry ring out across the cavern."
Excellent. So, Miko, you have a bane. No, I'm kidding. You don't have a bane. Whatever he's saying sounds pretty nasty, and even the red priests who don't speak the language seem to be kind of affected by it. And what I will say is this. The fact that you are causing this disturbance, since you guys are not involved in the fight per se, but so that you can benefit from what Amloth is doing, I will say that just it kind of shifts the kind of atmosphere. It kind of shifts the energy in a room a little bit, and all of you will get a boon on your first roll next turn, as you feel like the tide of battle sort of shifting, and it kind of emboldens you a little bit. So since you're not fighting them and can't benefit from what he's just, I'll give you that boon instead to carry with.
I'm glad Dara fought his initial instinct of whenever Wildren start talking to plug his ears.
It wouldn't be wrong. All right. New initiative. Do you move? You can move anywhere you want if you want to move, Amloth.
I just want to get to as central a space in this room as I can.
Okay, just stay on the walkways there. So Dara's going to go at 3. Ooh, Amloth's going to go 1. You're going to go at 6, Claudia. Miko, you head on over to that thing. When you get to it, you touch it. There's kind of a little symbol on it, and you recognize it as the Tomram symbol that you saw on the map, and it's sort of pale and kind of broken, almost like it physically shattered the symbol when the thing got broken up. And when you touch the cylinder, it's very cold. But you attempt to dismantle that. So give me a crafting roll.
All right. Here comes my last advantage. Oh, no, wait. I have a boon from the thing last turn, so I don't need to use it, right?
That's right.
Cool.
From Amloth singing.
That is a 10 and a 17, but I did get under my 15 with the 10.
Awesome. So you managed to dismantle a nice big long section of pipe, whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be the elbow or just a straight pipe, not a problem. You managed to dismantle that. Where do you want to do it? Do you want to take it somewhere? What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, and as soon as I get, and I think it's going to have to be like the elbow more than anything else, and start directing that over in the towards the bellows to get that air direction where I need it to be.
Okay, so you will drag that sumbitch down back here. At 5, the sort of leader that Githra is fighting starts to intone some dark arcane language, and will cast a spell. As soon as I find it.
He casts teleport.
That's right. This is going to affect everyone except for Claudia, since you're too far away.
Good.
So he's using one of his boss abilities. Now, you can... this thing can't be evaded or dodged normally, because he does have a Bane, since he's not making a roll. What I will say is this, is that I will give Miko and Amloth the opportunity to make a, let's call it a, well, go ahead and make an evade roll, just to see if you can sort of shrug off some of the damage that's coming from this thing.
If I don't have evade, is that the base?
If you, well, so what's your evade is on agility?
So I just try and roll.
What's your agility?
9.
So you need to roll a 5 or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a 16 over 10, so I fail.
I've got some advantages left, so I'm going to use one of those. 19. 5.
Hey!
You made it.
Yep,
That makes it.
That's success.
All right.
One lad.
All right. So I'll give you I'll basically give you half the damage, to make up for that. I mean, so, Miko, you're going to take 7 damage.
I'm guessing armor does not affect this.
Armor does not affect this. 6,
Okay.
10. So you're going to take 5 damage, Amloth, as he begins to chant. And as he's chanting, you start feeling kind of woozy, and you feel your heart is just sort of thumping in your chest, and it starts beating really, 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 really hard. And you start sweating. And as you're sweating, at some point it gets in your eyes and it stings, and you kind of wipe it away. And as you look, you see that it's blood, as blood is starting to pour out of your skin directly, and just sort of in rivulets just sort of go down into your armor and just sort of wet everything down there, and it's just coming out of your skin and out of your pores. And it's not at all pleasant. But you're okay, Claudia, way up high into the sky. Speaking of Amloth should have gone at 1.
I thought so.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, Amloth.
No, hey.
You were a little bit stunned, but there you are. You're back in action. You should have gone at 1. If you do something that would have prevented the damage, I will erase the damage.
No, I wouldn't have done anything. I would have, with that war cry, I would have run in and taken a swing at this one behind. With my staff, shouting, "Gethra, you don't mind sharing, do you?"
More the merrier.
And
so you roll on your staff skill.
Yeah. Go on. Yes, that's a 2.
Nice. He's not going to try to evade you because he doesn't really see you coming from behind. Roll your damage.
So exciting! I haven't done this yet.
Yeah.
Right. I raise Griffith's walking stick above my head, and that's a 4 points of damage.
All right.
No, wait, no, hang on. Can I? So, how do I make this a toppling attack?
So if you want to topple.
Yeah.
No one's ever done a topple before. It gives you a boon when trying to trip an opponent.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to topple? Because
I do.
Because you succeeded anyway. So
I succeeded anyway.
Did you use an advantage?
No, I just rolled straight.
All right, so you would have succeeded. So you come in with the stick and you.
Yeah, I just want to like golf swing at the back of his ankle, just like at his Achilles heel,
and he'll fall off
Achilles tendon.
And then when you hit him, his feet will go off and he'll hit the ground and he'll roll off and fall all the way down to the ground at the bottom down there. So you've gotten rid of him, at least for the moment. All right.
And then blood.
At 6, upstairs. Claudia, tell me, you are up there. You have this ticking time bomb in your hand.
Oh, is it going off? Oh, no.
Well, you would have had to activate it because you wouldn't be able to.
Do I think I can make it to the top and plant it before it goes off?
Well, no, you wanted to plant it where the dark cracks were.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
I will try
because this way you risk being able to bring down just a chunk of it and not the entire thing down. So that way, like the chunk that's damaged from the other guy's spell might allow you to kind of just bring that chunk down rather than the whole fumarole, which would probably be ugly.
Yeah, kill a lot of people. Yeah, okay. I will try to plant it.
You will try to plant it. All right. So what I'm going to ask you to do. So I would ask you to do a sleight of hand. However, you still have your intuition, which if you wanted to use, did you use your intuition?
I don't think I have. No.
If you wanted to use your intuition, I would let you pay the 3 willpower for the intuition to know exactly where to place it.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I? Yes.
All right. So your intuition tells you exactly where to place it. And what this is going to do is when the terrible thing that's about to happen to you happens, I'll give you a boon on it.
Okay.
All right. So you reach up, you place it, you settle it into place. It's kind of ticking away. You can tell it's about to explode. And then you pull back and then you realize it's probably upside down. So then you flip it over and you put it so that when it explodes, it goes up into the cracks rather than down where you are. So you flip it around and you kind of jam it in there again. And as you're doing that, you can feel it trembling and you feel it's getting really hot.
Oh, no.
And so we'll continue with your intuition. What your intuition is telling you is you need to get out of there super chop. You're probably going to need to jump one side or the other to get out of there and hope to get down before this thing explodes. So you can either jump back down the fumarole. Now you still have the rope.
Mm-hmm.
You can jump back down the fumarole, or you can jump down the tunnel that's been carved on the other side. The rope may or may not help you. You have to decide if you keep it or not. If you jump down the fumarole, you probably want to keep it. If you jump down the other side, you may or may not because it might trap you.
I'm gonna jump down the fumarole. Yeah.
You're gonna jump down the fumarole? You sure?
That's probably Claudia would be. Yeah, absolutely. She's like, if I die, this is gonna be the coolest thing, and they'll also be able to get my hand easier.
How does she do it?
I think she will have tried to affix the rope somewhere. She's gonna grab one side and kind of just go like a pin drop.
No problem. So as you do that and you have Fearless, so this is what's going to happen. You drop yourself off onto the side, and just as you kind of clear it, you can see the cracks in the rune lock and fire start to emerge from it, and the thing just shatters. And because you placed it kind of like a claymore this side towards enemy, you can tell all the forces going up into those little cracks, and right now it's filling up those cracks. But it doesn't take long that those cracks start to decimate and stone starts to come down and starts to rain down, and you're falling. You're kind of about halfway down that fumarole, and that stone is falling. And then suddenly you can see the sky through it as this massive tonnage of ice just starts sliding down through those cracks and into the fumarole. And for a moment, you kind of imagine that this is what it felt like if you'd have gotten caught in the avalanche earlier. All right? So I'm going to ask you to give me an acrobatics roll. Now you're going to do it because you use the intuition. You're going to do it at a boon.
Okay, so I roll 2 still?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
I want you to roll it, but I want you to tell me right away what you get. Okay?
Okay.
So, back down onto the floor. Keep your results secret. Back down onto the floor. Dara, you are fixing this pipe and sort of trying to just hammer it in at this point. You're not even trying to be subtle or kind of nice or kind of, about it. And you hear this trembling, and your senses as a stormcaller pick up that the thing has gone off. The rune lock has gone off. You can feel the shatter storm that's building up on top of you. Your first thought is that you're all dead. Your second thought is that, well, you're not dead right now, so you may as well continue working until you are. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to continue hammering this thing. You look up and you see all this tonnage coming out. Now, do a stonework check.
All right.
Or stonemasonry, whatever it is.
Stoneworking.
Stoneworking.
That is a dragon.
That is awesome.
Yes.
So,
just in time.
As you look at this coming down, you look at this platform that's built around here. You have no clue what it's built out of, but you just know deep down inside of you, this is built solid. It was built so that if ever there was something like this, a natural cause that would cause part of the fumaroles to come down, that it would protect the machinery underneath it. And so if you're standing underneath this platform, you will be safe from you, and anybody standing underneath the platform, under the beams, will be safe from, or I will get an advantage in resisting the damage that's sort of coming down on top of you.
Okay.
You know that?
I will yell that out as loud as I can to Amloth and our allies, telling them to get down under the platform. Everything is about to happen. And in the need for expediency, I will say, and knowing that there's no way that I could make this do this engineering up properly in this amount of time, if you'll allow me, Christian, I think I would use my shatter spell to carve a gouge in the floor for the pipe to sit in, so that I don't have to focus as much on affixing it in place for the bellows to be transiting air down into the furnace.
I like it. All right, spend your willpower. You cast your spell, you gouge the stone cracks underneath you, empties out. You do it just perfectly. You put that pipe in there, and you can feel it trembling, and you manage to sort of get yourself under one of these pillars. And the last action here before everything comes falling down, including Claudia, Amloth, what do you want to do? You look up, you see Claudia coming down. You see stone, you see ice, tons of it. Snow coming down right behind her. You heard Dara say to get under the support pillars. If you do that, you get a good chance of living. Claudia is coming down. Her chances are pretty low. What do you do?
And the support pillars is the green here?
Yeah, and even the middle ones.
And the middle ones. Okay. So actually where I am is currently okay.
But underneath, you'd have to be underneath.
You have to get underneath. You're standing on top.
Got it. Cool. Understood. I grab Gaithra and drag her underneath.
Give me, how are you going to do that? You are currently exhausted, which means that your strength levels are very low. She's very powerfully built. She's engaged in a fight with this miscreant. How do you propose to drag her under?
In this moment, it's just a full body attempted tackle.
Go for it, buddy.
So what do I need to roll under?
So you don't have hand-to-hand combat, but I will allow you to use acrobatics.
Okay.
Oh, do you have acrobatics? No, sorry, I'm looking at Case.
No, I don't.
I'm looking at Case. And why don't you use your staff and your toppling ability?
Can I actually? Well, can I just fuck. I just want to shout, "Time to dig deep, Gethra," and dive under myself. Can I make a persuasion roll?
Go for it.
Yeah. 8 under 14.
All right. Let me see if she's even gonna care about what you're saying. 8 under 14.
Mm-hmm.
That's 6.
Mm-hmm.
She briefly looks over her shoulder and goes back to fighting this guy. Like, you can tell that.
Woman on a mission. Fair enough. Underneath. Adopt the brace position.
You could attempt if you wanted. Don't you have something that allows you to retake an action?
But with that, does that affect? That's not going to affect her desires, though, right?
What does the item say? A tale twice told?
Mm-hmm.
Tale twice told.
That just affects my...
Said a great Redner told us about Joe. Truth is, she possessed the story is like a Taltoke. When you feed 3 apart into this artifact allows you to take another action immediately after you just took one, or go back to just before you took your last action and change it. Once you use this power, the scroll cannot be used again for 24 hours. So do you want to use that and get another action? Or do you want to go use it and try to redo your action and get a better roll on it?
Not in this moment, because there's something else I might want to use it for, and she's made her choice.
Okay, no problem. So you get down underneath. All right, Claudia.
Good luck.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 4 under. It was acrobatics?
Yeah.
4 under 12.
Awesome. You fall down, and as you're dropping, you realize that the rope's going to screw you, because the rope's going to stop you somewhere in midair. And not only is that going to be jarring and painful, it's going to stop you right in the path of this avalanche thing. So give me a sleight of hand roll, and if you get the sleight of hand roll, you will manage to untie yourself just in time so that you don't hit the end of the rope.
That's a 4.
Nice. So at the last second, you realize, holy fuck. And then with hand, you just grab at it and just rip the knot off. And just as it would have stopped you, and with because the rock's right 10 feet above you, you rip that off and you start falling. You realize that everyone's kind of getting under those pillars. Again, you are fearless. You are someone who does this kind of stuff a lot. So as you hit, you're going to take damage. There's no two way about it. Mm-hmm. But once you've taken damage, if you're still alive, I'll allow you to do an acrobatics roll to try and get under the pillar before the rocks come down on top of you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
All right. So you're going to take, and your armor will protect you.
Is it just it's armor rating 1 parentheses 2.
Yeah, 2, because the hand gives you an extra.
Sick.
All right. So you're taking from that fall. You're taking 21 damage.
Nice.
Minus your armor, so 19 damage.
Nice.
Still alive?
I am. I think I have 6 left.
So you manage at the last minute, and as you fall, you start kind of rolling so that you don't hit the pillar that you want to get under. You come right next to it, and then remembering your lessons about how falling works, you realize that it doesn't matter from how far you drop, that at some point you get like a maximum velocity thing. And all you need to do is break that. So you kind of angle yourself with your acrobatics, and just as you're about to pass the pillar you want to get under, you push yourself against it, and this breaks your momentum going down and shoots you off at an angle, so that instead of landing square down, you kind of roll off, and then with your acrobatics you manage to roll. You're still taking a lot of damage as you're rolling and kind of hitting.
Clank, 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 clank.
But you roll and you stop when you hit something really hard, and you look up and you're right under Dara. And as you look up and he's holding this pipe, Dara, what do you say?
Well, that was fucking fancy. You all right?
Nice of you to drop in.
As mountains of rock and ice just come crashing down on top of you, hitting that support, and you're seeing how strong those supports are. As soon as rocks or ice hit it, they just shatter. And there's debris that's lining up on all sides of you and just creating this mountain. Miko, because you were able to bring that pipe in to redirect that vent, as that's happening, the flames start to rise. It gets so hot, like it's burning you, but you realize if you crouch down next to it on the underside, whatever this thing is made of to withstand that heat is protecting you from it. So the heat is really directed up into that sort of fumarole, and then down into the pipes underneath. So with the air that's coming down, that's coming, the ice that's coming is melting sort of as it goes, and it's creating this steam. And as it does, you can feel the machinery around you come to life as the steam starts to get absorbed through these various tunnels. You're hearing people screaming in pain as rocks and ice and whatnot are crushing down on top of the red priests and on some of the Ashkari. But you can feel this tremendous trembling underneath you as this entire machinery comes to life. The flames rise up, the steam is pumping in, the air is going, the ice is melting, the rocks are finishing to fall around you. And as you look up and are kind of just waiting for this kind of vroom of this machinery, everything shakes and powers down.
Fuck. I yell out, Fambro!
Are you done breaking everything? I'm coming down.
Are we out of combat?
Yeah. As you're digging yourself out, and Gethra's there, and some of the other Ashkar are digging each other out, and, you know, putting the rest of the Red Priest to the sword. The machinery's...
I'm running over to Claudia and, like, already unslinging my backpack and, like, you know, gently feeling for any breaks and, like, creating splints out of cutlery and cooking equipment and, like, strapping things on. And I want to make a healing check.
Oh.
Go for it.
With my final advantage that I have. Oh, no, ooh, hang on. No, I've got 2 left. That's a 6 under 12.
So you're feeling a little bit better. You dig yourselves out from all this snow and ice and rock, and there's steam everywhere now, and it's like almost impossible to sort of breathe and see what's going on, and you kind of stumble out. You can see Fimbles at the entrance of the door. He's got this big light in his hand, and he's shining. Follow the light. Just follow the light.
Did we do it? I can't really tell.
I don't fucking know.
You come out, and he's there. Well, you've made quite a mess. It's going to take me forever to fix this.
You could sound a little more impressed.
I'm sorry. Wow. You've made an incredible mess. It's going to take me 1,000,000 years to fix this. Was that much better?
That is somehow better, yeah. Oh.
Is it working?
No. It's not working. It was never going to work. I told you that. The doctor himself came down here. No one can rival the doctor.
Is it going to self-destruct?
Well, at this point, there's not much point in that now, is there?
So we bought some time.
Well, I dare say you've saved the monoliths from destruction, so they're still there. You're going to need some sort of other source of power if you wish to get them functioning again.
One day at a time, Fimble. One day at a time. Ah. Oh. I think I threw out my shoulder tripping that red bugger.
Bergamot.
What did she even try for?
I'm sorry, I can't be of much more help. You're going to need some sort of source of power to be able to, but if you manage to find something, you should be able to reactivate it. They don't need the actual system that's been put in place. The monoliths can contact each other and exchange with each other directly. This was just for the drawing the energy from the earth. But Dr. Herminaz himself at some point theorized that it might be possible to get the monoliths functioning without this, as long as there was a source of power.
What about the other two forges?
Well, they're going to be pretty much in the same state as this one. I believe Dr. Herminaz visited the two of them before he came to this one. There were in fact 5 forges at some point, but a couple of them were destroyed a long time ago.
Why?
Well, it's not the first time that someone decides that it'd be better to stop this whole thing from spinning around. You know, things are cyclical. Things always come back the same way they used to be. He's getting you upstairs back to his little workshop. He pours you guys some bergamot. Anyone who wishes can do an awareness check.
Yeah, 11 and 12.
I'm going to use another one of the advantages. Hopefully this works. That is 12 under 14.
Big fat 19 for me.
So you're a bit, Mika, you're
pissed off.
Pissed off and a little bit, your attention's taken away when you come upstairs and he serves you bergamot tea, and he's like, would you mind if I took a quick look at your hammer for a second? You can hold it, just put it on the workbench here.
I'll set it on the workbench.
So even the good doctor himself theorized at some point that if there was a source of power strong enough, it might make the other monoliths work without the need for this deep forge. He theorized that the longer the deep forges ran, the more dangerous it would become for the world, because we were essentially overheating it and drawing power directly from it. And so he started wondering exactly how he would go about doing that. And one of his discoveries was that one of the monoliths was missing. They had no clue where it went. And since the monoliths didn't seem to be operating without the power from the deep forges, which is why they were built in the first place, he theorized that their source of power was very likely that other monolith. I'm not one to know exactly where you might go about finding such another monolith. And those of you who made your awareness check, as you look up, you see that the screen that's sort of behind him as he's working on the hammer is that map that you guys saw earlier that I will show you here again. And you see this, and you see now that everything is powered down except the one monolith that you fixed, the water one up here that you fixed. The deep forges now are cracked and not active here. But as this is going on, you see this map that you've seen before sort of appear, and somewhere around here there's a bit of a glowing light that's flicking very, very weakly. I, for one, have no clue where you would go about finding such a thing, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. However, since I assume you'll probably be going out there to try and find it, and you've used all your rune locks, well, all your cheap rune locks, let's face it. There, that should do it. And he lifts up your hammer, and you see that there were around the hammer, there were bits and pieces that moved around that you never kind of really figured out exactly what they were about, but now he's moved them kind of like a Tetris puzzle almost, and they now resemble little rune locks on either side of the hammer. It's like they're not as potent as the other ones, but, well, you can keep reloading them. I trust if you were to decide to go and find one of these things that you might find this useful.
Might be a bit better off that they don't do as much of an explosion anyway. And he takes the hammer back and examines it. From one crafter to another, I thank you.
Oh, it's just the protocols. And he goes over to Claudia, and he's like, might I see Handy?
Yes, of course.
And as you extend your hand, he takes it and goes, hello, old friend. And you see Andy detaches from your hand. It stays there, but it kind of detaches, and it's sort of like, it's kind of like it grew in size, so now it's kind of hovering. You see your hand for the first time, your hand's mangled. It's like pierced and like
Gross.
All sort of damaged. And he's like, you're going to need to put something on that. But he messes around with the hand a little bit. And he's like, I miss you too. Good luck. And then the hand eventually closes, but this time it doesn't close and lock around your arm. And you can tell that you can probably take it off and take it on, put it on back if you want. And as it's activated, he's like, I feel much better now. Several of my otherwise inaccessible file storage have now been unlocked.
Yes. I didn't realize you were old friends.
Yes. Me and he names this long-ass list of letters and names go way back. Treat him kindly, would you?
Always.
And as for you, Master Waldron, I would guess that you now have a tale for the ages to tell.
One that should get me free drink in every bar in every town within 40 miles of here. I would hope so.
He undoes that little yellow scarf that he's got around his neck, pulls it off. Look here, in case they don't believe you, and he puts it around your neck, and he does a little kind of ascot tie with it.
Many thanks. Magic hammer, magic hand, the scarf.
One day that hand will cease to work. One day that hammer will be shattered. But your stories, Master Amloth, will live on forever. I can imagine, I can see it now. Millions of years from now, a group of people speaking to each other through screens, contacting each other through wires in the ground and through invisible ones in the sky will tell this story again and marvel at Well, how you really cocked it up in the end.
All right, let's leave the writing to the professionals, shall we? Let's not editorialize right now.
I apologize for the protocol.
I understand.
Well, he turns
Thank you for the
around.
warm neck.
Turns around. He's got a dustpan and a broom. I've much work to do, so if you don't mind, the exit's over there. Ta-ta. And he goes, starts sweeping.
I'm going to
As
leave
with our
a
friends.
quill and ink, I think, for him so he can write his own little stories.
Don't encourage him. That's not. That's just sad.
You guys can be rivals, okay?
There's no rivalry here, my friend.
As we're walking away, I just kind of holding on to Skyforger. I'm like, I still want to fucking hammer his hands to pieces for some fucking reason. So fucking annoying.
Andy says, you should tell him not to speak like that of my father.
Oh, that's Andy's dad.
Seems like an absent fuck then if you haven't seen him for fucking ages.
I can't argue that one. And so as the three of you will leave throughout the exit door this time and not through the fumarole, which, you know, when you come out, you can see that a good chunk, half of one of the fumaroles is completely cratered in and sort of disappeared. But there's not much smoke coming out of the other ones. Gaithra will come out with you and will say that she still needs to hunt that bastard down. So she's sorry that you didn't get to achieve the success you were looking for, but she knows that some way, somehow, you'll manage to get it done. And hopefully she will be able to get her thing done too, because she'd really like to grow out her hair now. But she can't until she takes care of this. She'll shoulder her axe and whistle, and her men will fall in line and they will walk on down the mountain, leaving the three of you there looking at this damaged fumarole and the sky that's actually not so bad. You know, there's no fire dropping from it or motes of earth flying at you, which, you know, is a good, nice change of pace. Your ram standing there, looking very impatient.
Well, that kind of worked, I guess. You know, I wasn't quite sure whether or not the rune lock was going to be enough for that. I guess I'm glad it worked.
It was more than powerful enough, I think.
I would say so, Master Dara. Congratulations.
Where will you all be heading now?
Well, apparently, according to you, Master Bard, I've got to go and find the missing sister.
If you fancy yourself in need of a companion, I just have a friend to sing home. And then if you fancy seeing the woods and seeing where I'm from, want to come that far, I don't mind accompanying you afterwards.
Sounds fair enough. I'm going to need you to point me in the direction they need to go anyway, because I've got no fucking clue where I'm supposed to go.
Put an arm around his shoulders. We'll find it together, Master Dara.
Right. What about you? What about you there, Claudia?
Probably I need to go down. I probably need to go to the other monoliths, find the seventh sister. Maybe help clean up the red priests back in Carthum.
Carthum.
Yeah, Carthum. I have places to be, but please take me back to civilization first.
I think the first thing that we should do is make sure that you're not limping your way there.
Yeah, that'd probably be good. I am pretty sore. I am pretty bruised up.
To say the least.
The ram. Could ride the ram.
Would the ram let me?
He sniffs you, but sure.
Sick.
And so, with Master Amloth, no doubt, singing a song that he's already started working on about your exploits, and Dara bitching and moaning all the way, and Claudia riding a ram, you head down the mountain back towards civilization and to whatever future adventures await you as you have solved the mystery of the wreckage of the stars. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, DM.
Why is it that every time I get involved in these games, something has to get destroyed?
I don't know. You got another game to prove me wrong. Thank you so much, my players. Absolutely amazing. I will get around to you in a second and let you tell everyone who you are. So I want to thank the watchers, the people hanging out in the chat with us, all the raiders that we got. You're all absolutely amazing. We appreciate you very deeply, and thanks to Andy, my producer, also. Please, my friends, go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are, what's going on, what's happening. I'll start with Olo.
Thank you so much, Chris, for running. This has been a blast. I like to think that the last shot is them walking down the hill together, and Anloth just starts. So a Dvarg, an elf, and a human walk into a pub. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. My name is Olo Clark. I'm an actor, writer, and creative director at Escape Plan Games. We publish TTRPG books. You can find our first 5 ebook on the website, www.eplangames.com. You can find the company at ePlan Games on all the social medias, and you can find me at JackBNimble42 on Instagram and Twitter. This has been such a blast. So lovely to meet all of you and the sort of rolling players we've had through it. It's been a blast. I've never
met everyone from the roster at this point.
It's great. Love it. It's an introduction. It's brilliant. Fantastic. I love the amount of map work and Hero Forge mini work and all the stuff. It's just fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris. It's so nice to be part of the Shadesong tapestry. I hope Amloth drops back in at some point.
Well, I already have plans for him tomorrow, so I'll tell you about it later. But thank you so much. I'm so glad you could come and play with us. I'm still not sure if I prefer you or your brother. It's still kind of there. We'll probably have to go around one more time to...
Listen, if I haven't been able to convince you after this long, then there's no accounting for taste.
We've got to get them both in one game.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan. Thank you so much, and good luck with Escape Plan, and have fun with Kayla and the next thing you're doing. Kayla's wonderful, and I'm sure you're going to...
If you're not bored of my face already, on Sunday I am starting a stream. There will be a long one, a long series, hopefully, over on Time Lord's Wife's Twitch stream. Any of you who know Kayla know she's an absolute blast, and we will be playing through the Tyranny of Dragons Dragon Riders, with customized Dragon Rider subclasses. It's going to be Game of Thrones meets How to Train Your Dragon meets Tiamat. It's going to be terrifying, and I can't wait.
All right. I hope it is as terrifying as it promises to be. Thank you so much, Olo. It's been a pure pleasure to have you here. Migo, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you got going on.
Hey there, I am Miko, otherwise known as the Okayest GM, the _Okayest_GM on the socials. You can see my links in the chat at some point, I'm sure, if you're at all interested in checking out more of the things that I do. I play games, run games, create things for games, and produce games. I am on the production team over at Wanderer's Haven, just recently added to that lovely roster of people. We've got all kinds of cool plans for things over there, including my own homebrew world of Easter, getting to show off a little bit more of that with some long-running mini campaign adventures in the future. So stay tuned for more info on that. And
you'll be next week back here doing more Shadesong.
Right, that is next week. Yeah,
the Vault. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but it'll be great to have you again. And playing Dara again.
Playing Dara still, yeah.
All right.
Hey, since he lived, I get to continue playing him. I'm very glad about that.
I'll tell you all about your hammer. Thanks so much, Miko, for hanging out. Always appreciate it. Okay, last but not least.
Hi. Yeah, hi, my name is Kay, or King Cosmos. I do all sorts of art, digital art, fabric crafts, video game design. I'm working on a game jam for this month, and all sorts of things. I played Claudia Sumnus, who did not did not die somehow, and
Tried to.
I tried. It's not the
Level
first
best.
time she's tried, not the last time, I'm sure. It was great to play with you, Allo, and meet you, and play with Nico and Chris
Yeah.
as per usual. Yeah, I'm getting sleepy, so
All righty.
that's
We'll
it
let you
for
go
now.
here.
Well,
And
we should plug actually Kay, since Kay's not going to plug themselves. If you are at all interested in awesome avatars, you can check out both mine and Christian's avatars on the social medias. Those were both done by
Is
the
that you?
wonderful Caden Cosmos. Personalized, cool, awesome avatar artwork. You should talk
Those
to
are
them
awesome.
because they make good stuff.
absolutely love my little Bonum. Love him to bits. My Bonum. Thank you so much, Kay, for being here. I want to thank Andy, my producer, everyone who hung out tonight and gave bits and cheered and gave the players advantages, everyone who came to see us. I am the Bleakseason on the socials, bleakseason.com to get information about Shadesong. I'll be back tomorrow with a one-shot that ties into this one, but happens 1,000 years before. This one will have in it Flying Blackmore, who's in chat or was in chat a little bit earlier, DM Dave, Vamp Wickman, and Solution from Solution Maps, who's going to come in and do a game with us. So I'm really stoked about that. He made a couple of maps and a couple of assets for that game. So looking forward to playing with Solution. And we're going to do one shot that takes place 1,000 years before that explains exactly this thing that Dara wants to go find, exactly how it got to where it was. And next week, next Thursday next week, we'll be back with the next 5-part installment of Shadesong, the last one for the foreseeable future. I'll take a little break after that, but we'll see the Vault. We'll see how that ties up all these storylines that have been going on. That will have Miko in it. It will have Dungeon Mr. Ty in it. It will have Beth in it, and we'll have Shelly in it. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Be a great time. Thank you, Flan, for hanging out with us. Look forward to killing you tomorrow in that one shot. It's been a real blast. We're going to check us out. Check out Guild Spear. We got tons of stuff going on. We have next Monday the finale of the Eldritch horror game that MJ Russell's running. The online Cthulhu action. It's really kind of weird and twisted and scary. It's been a lot of fun. And on Tuesday next week, we're back with, of course, Greyhawk, DM Dave's Greyhawk campaign, where my producer Andy is amassing more curses than I'm amassing cast members in my shows at this point. So that's always a good bit of fun. And as I said, next Thursday and tomorrow, back with some more Shadesong. So thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to raid our good friend Phoenix Iwaki, playing some D&D up over on his channel. Please give him some Guild Spear love when we get in there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Super appreciate you all. Have a good night. Catch you later.